We welcome everybody here for tonight's superb event. About to duke it down here at the Talladega Super Speedway for 47 laps, 120, I think 150 or 125 miles. I'm not really sure, but either way, this one's going to be interesting because tonight we're going to crown our first champion of the season here tonight at the Talladega Super Speedway. And it'll boil down to the 41, the 86, and the 79 here for tonight. Glad you could tune us in here for tonight's event. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. The time has come to crown our Season 3 Yost Auto Sales Series champion. We're just 47 short laps away from figuring out who it's going to be. And those three numbers you just mentioned, Christopher Weil, Dominic Howe, and William Schmidt, the three drivers eligible for the championship. We might as well dive right into where they stand in the points in terms of what the gaps are. Christopher comes in with a healthy 30-point lead there over the 86 of Dominic Howe. So definitely an uphill battle for the two cars behind Chris, but still possible with quite a few people in the session tonight. Lots of points up for grabs. Everybody from fourth on back no longer mathematically eligible to win this championship, but still some pretty good seasons in that mix, including Cody Webster, who I believe won a pair of races. Of course, the last time ARCA came to a super speedway here was back at Daytona, and sure enough, Chris was the winner of that race.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pull it off here for tonight. He only has one win of the season. It came at Daytona. We'll see if he can cap off the season with a win, and he currently leads points as well. But those drivers right behind of Dominic Howe and William Schmidt, they have to have some type of thing happen to that number 41, because that 30-point gap is actually fairly big if all of them make it in for tonight's feature. So we just gotta have to find out on where they're gonna be starting once we do take this green flag here momentarily. Here in about 7 minutes from now, we'll go ahead and dive into our pre-race interviews and drag up in a couple of people into the booth for tonight's main event. And we'll go ahead and drag in that number 41 and Christopher Weil, of course. He leads points as of right now. Into the booth he goes. Christopher, you got a copy?
Yeah, hey guys.
Hey Chris, my goodness, you have had a phenomenal season from start to finish as of right now. That number 41 is currently leading the points, but can you cap it off here with another win as well as a championship?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to cap it off with the championship. I don't know about the win, though, because I kind of want to keep it safe because I have that points lead to work with. I don't need to be super aggressive and risk it all and lose the championship. I'd rather get the championship than the win today. But hopefully this Jurassic Park hot rod that Ritwick custom made for me is fast. It's a nice Tony Stewart throwback paint, and we'll see if it can take a chomp out of the competition.
Alright, but 10-4, you have a 30-point gap over that number 86 of Dominic Howe, and as well as a bigger gap to William Schmidt in that number 79. So, besides your plans of laying back and such, any teammates you have out there here for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my usual guys I work with, like Brody Garner, Nick Miller, Carson Poindexter, some newer faces like Dylan Basin, Sartaj Mann. They'll all be out there as well. But my strategy for the start of the race, honestly, is going to be try to qualify for the pole, lead lap 1, get those 2 bonus points for both of those things, and then just drop back and ride it out.
Alright, bud, we'll see if you can complete that task and get yourself a championship here for tonight. That number 41 currently is 13th on the practice board. But before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank before we set off tonight's race?
Yeah, again, I'd like to thank Ritwick for the custom throwback paint. It's awesome. I love it. Hopefully any of his paints get voted for best throwback in this race, because he's got a ton in this field. And I also just want to thank my Schramm Poindexter Motorsports teammates. They're always great, and I hope we work well. Hopefully I'll be back in the interview booth tonight as a champion in the series.
Alright, bud, 10-4. That number 41, again, 13th in practice. We'll go ahead and see you after the post-race.
Alright, see you then.
That was Christopher Weil, and that number 41, of course, coming into the night as the points leader. So, of course, Dewey, as the team owner of that number 41, guess you're a bit nervous here for tonight?
A little bit. I mean, a 30-point gap I think is pretty substantial, but at a track like Talladega, literally anything is possible, and a great strategy could go south with just a tiny error or tiny mishap somewhere. I mean, I have plenty of confidence, of course, trying to be as non-biased as possible that he can get the job done, but, you know, I hope it's a good battle, though. I hope we get some interesting things go on, and it becomes maybe a bit closer than what it seems now, and we'll see who ends up coming out with the championship. But that 41 definitely coming into tonight with a big advantage over the other two.
Yep, that is right. We'll go ahead and drag in another person into the booth. That'll be the number 19 of Peter Kenny, who recently last time he visited Victory Lane was back at Daytona, but he's been in Victory Lane here before at Talladega as well, happening in the Xfinity Series a while back. Peter, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, Peter, after your Christmas break, you finally got the computer that you needed, and hopefully you'll take it here to the front. So, how's your race outlook going?
I'm gonna work with my teammates, my amazing team owner Max Zurich, and my amazing teammates like AJ Bain. We're gonna all work together and get Supreme Motorsports another win.
All right, bud. 10-4. Any overall plans you have for tonight? Just laying toward the back, or getting toward the front, or what's your plans here for tonight besides working with your teammates?
Stay out of the wrecks and just don't be dumb. You know, I'm not gonna be like Andy McDowell or Joe Berge or one of them and get caught up in a wreck on like lap 10. So.
All right, but 10-4, a bit of name drop in there, but we'll go ahead and ignore that to the side. But Peter, currently sitting 28th in practice as of right now. Before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank here for tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Uric Designs, Wavy Brug Guide, Jersey Freeze for being on the car for today, Supreme Motorsports, Fruit Stripe, Horizon Organic, all amazing sponsors of Supreme Motorsports. I hope to get a win for them today.
All right, bud. 10-4, Peter Kenny in the number 19. Currently sits 20th in practice, so we'll go ahead and see you coming in tonight.
Thanks.
I like the confidence.
Yeah, of course
he's going to go out there and work with his teammates and get a win. I love the confidence going into the race. I mean, you see different guys say, well, we'll see what happens. No, he's going to go out there and just immediately gun for the win. So we'll see if that works out for Peter and company, as we're just over a minute and a half away here from qualifying. And this is going to be by far the most important qualifying session of this season, not only because it sets the field, of course, for the championship race, but unlike the previous races, there's an LCQ for this race because it's at a super speedway. So you need to get yourself into the top 38 so you don't get stuck trying to transfer in from the last chance qualifier.
Yep, that is right. We'll go ahead and drag in. Oh, it looks like the 83 just left the booth. So we'll go ahead and drag the number 70 of Harry Grindle in. Harry, you got a copy? Harry, this is Ezeckiel Reyes up here in the MaxP TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you, Zeke.
What's up, Harry? You currently sit 45th in practice as of right now. Anybody you're planning to work it with here for tonight?
No one in particular. Yeah, I'm sat 45th. I've only really done a couple of laps. There's not really much point in doing much with the restrictor plate practice, so I've just sort of tested different lines just to see what works, what doesn't. But yeah, not anyone particular I'm thinking to work with. Obviously, there's people you're friendly with, people you're not, but I don't have any teammates, so it's just a case of who's allied, who's not. So I'm thinking the Weep Squad and Friends cars are probably going to be good to work with, as well as a couple of others. But no, it's mostly just going to be fending for myself and trying to make the best of the situations I put in, really.
All right, bud. 10-4 for that. Number 70 currently sits 45th in practice as of right now. But before we go ahead and end off practice, any sponsors you want to thank here for tonight?
Well, Kamikaze, Team Project New Zealand, those logos aren't on the car tonight. However, well, they are in some form, but the main focus of the car tonight, obviously, since it is Throwback Week, is the throwback. I'm hoping Trading Paints has worked on your end, because tonight this number 70 is sporting the beautiful Alpine blue, throwing it back to the 1973 Renault Alpine A110 Group 4 rally car, one of the first rally cars to make proper use of rear-wheel drive. So I'm hoping to be able to do that car justice tonight.
All right, bud. 10-4 Harry Grindle, not number 70, getting set to qualify. We'll go ahead and see you coming after qualifying.
All right, see ya.
We'll also go ahead and scoot ourselves to the side. Currently qualifying underway. So that's our cue to step aside and play the national anthem. So go ahead, rise up, remove your hats as we salute our nation's colors. And we welcome everybody back here live for the iSCAR Yost Auto Sales Series finale. Also the throwback week, as Harry mentioned, you'll see a lot of schemes that are very familiar. That some of them familiar, some of them not. Depends on what you've seen. For right now, these drivers just taking laps around the racetrack and sort of logging in their fastest two.
Also, the final iSCAR race of what has been a pretty up and down and all sorts of different things kind of year, as this is the final race of 2020 here in the league. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what people are going to trot out here for throwback schemes. Always a good crowd pleaser to see what people come up with. So you scroll through our field. There's the 99 of Jake Corway, currently the fastest car to put a lap down in that bright red 99. We'll see if that lap stands. And for right now, with looks like about 20 people putting laps down, still stands up the top.
Still a lot of people logging in laps. There's a known throwback, that number 8 of AJ Bain.
Can never go wrong with that scheme.
That's
ever.
right.
Malachi Drake in the 90. That is, I believe, that's either Elliott Sadler or Ricky Rudd for the Wood Brothers. It's around 2001, 2002. Can't go wrong there either. Zach Corbett on the 102. Looks like we were focused on him. He's somewhere. There's Justin Johnson in...
That's a Menchu scheme. Well, it's technically a Menchu scheme.
Yeah, he ran it earlier this season, but now the 33 getting a chance to sport the clown colors, I guess. As more and more people go to put laps down, and it looks like this car is just stopped on the track. That's Colton Zimmer in the 47.
Running a Epic Games Fortnite Minecraft scheme. I guess that was one of his first schemes he ran.
76? I believe that's Liam Knox.
Yeah,
currently on top of the board. Just a couple thousandths over Kyler Wynn in the 084. That is a Josh Berry late model scheme. Of course, he won the late model championship, the weekly series for this year. I don't know who this is, but it's the number 11. That's Denny Hamlin's old FedEx car from his rookie season of 2006. Back when Joe Gibbs ran Chevrolets, if you can believe that happened at a point in time. Only a handful of seconds left here in qualifying. That's the 53 of Frimpong, so it looks like custom numbers have been enabled tonight. So there might be some different people.
Okay,
looks like
never mind about that. 41 of Christopher Wild was at the bottom of the board, and I caught that last second, but it looks like he does log himself in 7th place.
So he's in.
So yeah, he's in.
That's big for him. Congratulations to Liam Knox, though, in the 76. He is going to lead the field to the green here tonight for the final race of the Yost Auto Sales Series season. As we grid up here, as the top 38 have made their way in. Tyler Connors, unfortunately, was the first car to not qualify in, but he does start first here for this LCQ. Justin Johnson in the 33 will roll off next to him in second.
We have some big names inside this LCQ. Latham Joyner in the 03. He's in this LCQ alongside the 7-3 of JJ Hill.
Aiden Kirker in the 39 dominated the Eldora truck race just a few short weeks ago. Benjamin White in the 18. Let's see if he can advance from this LCQ tonight.
Nick Miller, that was a name I picked up as soon as I opened up the grid. He's starting in 8th place, so he's going to have to log himself inside 5 positions here for tonight. We're already rolling off.
Yeah, mentioned Harry Grindle, interviewed him. He looks like he's rolling off 10th for this LCQ, so he's got his work cut out for him as well if he wants that sporty Renault scheme to make it for 47 more laps. After this, there's Eric Keplinger. We haven't seen him in a very long time here in iSCAR, but good to see him back in that 60 machine. We'll see if he can advance onward. That lap from Jake Corway looks like it definitely did not last up towards the board at all, so he's going to roll off, looks like 14th for this LCQ as we continue to roll our way through the field. Beyond Cheney's back here, which is a bit surprising, I think. Chris Nazowski, good to see him back in here as well. Been a while since he's been here, and Eric Heater in the 28 will be the last of the 21 cars that will grid up. So 21 cars for just 5 spots. This is going to be nuts.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. For 5 spots, just 5 spots. So that's do the math, 5 divided by 22.
Yeah, just about a fourth of the people in here are going to make it through. But the important part is all 3 of the drivers that are mathematically eligible to win the championship qualified their way in. Christopher Wilde we saw in 7th, and Dominic Howe and William Schmidt both also qualified somewhere in the top 38. So from that standpoint, we're good. But now to see who will make up the final 5 spots here in the grid tonight. And it's, again, a couple guys that have had some pretty good runs over the last few weeks, but I guess just didn't quite have it here in qualifying tonight. But bit of an opportunity here to get back on their feet and see what they can do.
Yep, that is right. Glad you could tune us in here for tonight's Max Speed TV event. Gonna go up and away for 8 laps of racing. Top 5 will scoot themselves in for tonight's event for 47 laps. Pace car scoots itself left, and all in the hands, not number 44, Tyler Connors. He's jamming up the field already. A lot of cars are gonna have to jam up on the brakes just a bit, but it seems as though, yeah, they're gonna get themselves situated.
Here we go.
Now hold your breath, because these bumpers don't align. That's something we're going to talk about as we progress with the night. Green flag is out. We're up and away for 8 laps.
Yeah, unlike the other cars that we're going to race with here at Talladega in just a week's time, these bumpers do not line up at all. So it's going to be oh, man, and that was a risky clear there by Latham Joyner in the 03, as him and Justin Johnson both cleared the 44 of Connors. But it's a lot more risky to push in these cars than it is in other cars, because if you push somebody at just the wrong angle, you can instantly wad up cars. And speaking of wadding up cars, Aaron Brown and the 151 already in the outside wall.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, he's not going to be a part of that 43 car field once we take the green flag for that feature event here soon. But up front, at number 33 of Justin Johnson, recently got a new computer, doesn't run Doom graphics anymore, as I'd like to say. That 33 leads the field off of turn number 4. He's joined in by the 03 of Latham Joyner, and that inside line is slowly starting to stack up. So you got to be aware of how your line is moving, because if your line starts to stack up, you don't want to run into that car in front of you, or else you're going to have a big wreck in your hands. And you see right here, new name up toward the front, the 18 of Benjamin A. White works himself up front momentarily.
Look at Keplinger in the 60 trying to make it 3 wide up top. It looks like he has no help right now, but that could be something we see over these next 6.5 laps, where that third line could potentially start to come in. But we saw that Tyler Connors in the 44 didn't quite get that good of a start, and you see now he's barely in as the 5th car into the field. So even that one little mishap already cost him 3 spots, and it could end up costing him more before this thing's over, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, but that is right. The only wreck we've had so far was the 151 of Aaron Brown. some reason, he went around off of turn number 2. His day is unfortunately done for, but up front, though, 2x2 action, I'd say you're lined up 7-8 rows deep. As drivers try to get themselves logged in for this top 5, I'm just curious if there's anybody going to be ambiguous of that third line to log themselves inside that top 5. You don't have to gun for the lead.
Whoa, that black Lucas car there in the middle had a bit of a moment there. But this outside currently being led by 2 SPM cars, so I don't know if either of them are going to try to pull out and make a move. I think the 2 of them, of Benjamin and Nick, might just work together. But Connors as well as a teammate of theirs in the 44, so if the 3 of them can get hooked up at some point, I think they're going to try to get all 3 of them, of course, in this top 5 that will advance onward. But for right now, Justin Johnson in the 33 still pacing this field coming to 5 to go.
And that's where you want to be, up front. You don't want to be around that 3rd or 4th spot because you could easily get shuffled out of line. If you're the leader, you could just hold your line and keep it straight and block everybody right behind you, and you'll be easily secure in that top 5. And you said it, 3 wide right behind. Looks like that's where Bachman is.
Yeah, I think the 84 may have gotten shuffled out a bit, but now he's got the 60 of Keplinger, who's still up there, now behind him in tow. Still a couple car lengths in between those 2, so I think Bachman needs Keplinger to catch up as quick as possible and see if maybe this third line can start to get in before this thing ends.
And that's really their only shot toward the back because, again, that final spot is that 5th spot. It's not win and you're in. So you don't have to really race for that win, but you do have to race for that top 5. And right now, Latham Joyner in that 03. Whoa, man, that was really close right there. Benjamin seems as though he wanted to pick himself up to the high side. Now he does, because doors open up for him.
Good move by Latham, though. Got him up into the race lead around the 33. Saw an opening and took it. And more 3x3 action as I think a couple more cars have jumped up to that high side. See Tyler peeking his nose onto the below the yellow line, perhaps just cooling the engine off a bit. Benjamin's able to clear that 03 of Joyner into the lead. The 18 goes, coming to 3 to go.
All right, this is where it gets interesting. Now we're 3x3.
Here
so who's going to be that 5th car? There's a 3-way battle. Justin Johnson, Harry Grindle, and the 84 of David Bachman are all fighting out for that 5th spot. So this is where it's really going to get interesting as who's going to get themselves inside that top 5. But it seems as though that outside line's falling apart.
Harry Grindle in the 70 up the middle. He's currently in a transfer spot. But you see how that move by Latham Joyner, Justin Johnson went from leading this race to now on the outside looking in, or currently in 5th. It's really close still, but this is going to definitely come down to the wire. And if they end up wrecking at some point in this next 2.5 laps, they're going to see some really interesting results and interesting people getting in.
Bachman is doing, oh my goodness, what a run. They're still there. Oh, one of those cars on the outside blinked out. And the 02 and the 60, that's going to stall out the outside line. They got to get outside of each other or else they're not going to get any draft. And this will leave Bachman dry.
Yeah, look at all that momentum that Bachman lost right there. An unfortunate instance there. I don't even know who that is. But 2 laps to go. Grindle now in this field, and Bachman's chances of getting in may have just been, may have just gone down the drain there with that blink. But here comes Bianchini in the 48. Could maybe somebody jump up in front of that 84 to try to propel them all up to the front?
I'm not really sure. I think you'll need like 3 or 4 cars on that high side to make it work. Well, they only have 2 up there in the 84, but they're still pulling forward. Bachman is that 5th car now.
Could Grindle in the 70 jump up, or do you think, or maybe he'll stay in behind Nick Miller in the 95? But it's still SPM on the inside and the outside. But here comes Bachman again. He's got that big push from Bianchini. That outside line could end up doing something if somebody else jumps up. But one more lap to figure out who will get into this field.
White flag this time by. Miller leads at the line. Bachman on the high side with Bianchini, but nobody's going with them. They're starting to stack up, though. They're 4 wide in the back.
Yeah, that might be trouble if they're not too careful. They're getting really, really dicey there around 10th place. There's Keplinger into the outside wall.
Oh, boy.
Look at the run. Bachman's still staying there. And here comes the 187 of Luca Faros. Now that outside's got 3 cars as Nick clears to the bottom side in the 95. And now here comes Grindle in the 70 to try to take the lead.
3x3, 4 rows deep. They're looking 4 wide behind. They're wrecking.
Oh, big crash. Justin Johnson almost goes upside down. Multiple cars going in the outside wall. And here's where it matters. Well,
Grindle gets started. Are you kidding me?
Benjamin saves it. And coming to the line, Nick Miller's going to win the LCQ, but who are the 5 that get in?
Latham Joyner is the last person in!
Bachman's the first one out. He almost got there. But Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, Josh Patterson, Benjamin White, and Latham Joyner, the 5 cars that will advance on to the 43-car field. And heartbreak for all of those guys that got collected in that last lap wreck, and for Grindle, who got spun going into the tri-oval.
That's right. That is huge. That is so heartbreaking to see him spin like that. Oh my gosh, that's the last way you wanna lose a race like that. We'll get a replay of it, and you see the big wreck right behind. Drivers just going everywhere. But here's where it all happens. It seems as though that's the result of bumpers hooking right there.
And then here's the slow car just didn't even get out of the way. I don't know how much of an impact that had. But if there was another lap still left in this LCQ, that lap car could have played an absolutely major impact or a major role in how that turned out. But a lot of hard hits there in turn 4. So that'll do it for a hectic LCQ. And if you thought that was crazy, after just 8 laps, we got 47 more on tap here to determine who is going to win this series championship. But we got our little happy hour period first, I guess, to decompress a bit and go over some race analysis, since we haven't quite done that yet. And of course, the 2.66 miles super speedway known as Talladega here in Alabama. Elevation about 540 feet above sea level. New and setting here for this race session. 55 miles per hour is the pit road speed, and a 30 to 35 lap fuel window. So if we end up having green flag pit stops, that pit speed is going to be critical, because the last thing you want to do at a track like Talladega is get a green flag speeding penalty.
That is right, and there's going to be at least one pit stop these drivers will have to manage around. And I'm interested to see if just some drivers are going to short pit, some drivers are going to stay out as long as they can to catch a caution. It just all matters of how you're going to play your strategy for that fuel window. Just because it says 30 to 35 doesn't mean you're going to pit. Doesn't mean you're not obligated to pit on lap number 27, because I know some people are planning to pit around there. So we'll have to see on how these drivers will strategize here for tonight.
Yeah, I've seen multiple instances of guys that are planning to, of course, work with each other. You know, usually teammates or maybe just friends you have to try to work together. Could potentially either get to the front or maybe lay in the back for a bit. We're going to see various different strategies. Of course, he mentioned Chris say in his interview that he wanted to try to get the pole and lead at least one lap and then go to the back. But, of course, he'll roll off 7th, so we'll see how different his strategy will be now that he won't be able to just start up at the front. But we saw Peter Kenny in the 19 just say, I'm going to work with my guys and just stay in the back for a bit and try to avoid all the wrecks. So we'll see how it all pans out. But as the race goes on, you might start to see some strategies change up a bit.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Talladega could boil down to a few drops of fuel, as well as who you're going to be working with. So just a matter on how you're going to play your strategy, right? I mean, it's not... Talladega is deemed as, I'd say, for other iRacer, they would deem it as a no-talent racetrack, but I'd say it as a strategy game, because you could be on the wrong side of things playing the right cards, and it just all is going to boil down to on where you are once that white flag waves. So I'm just interested to see on how this will all go once we do see those final 2.66 miles logged in here for tonight.
Yeah, Talladega, you can strategize at, and also Daytona, but you can strategize at super speedways as much as any other type of track that we'll go to here in iSCAR. But the strategy that you have could instantly no longer work, probably faster than any other track we go to as well. I mean, one simple mistake by another driver could literally end the day as maybe 10, 15 people and alter the strategy of perhaps everybody else in the field. So that's how quickly stuff can change. So even if you have a good plan to try to strategize how you're going to approach the race, definitely have a plan B if something goes wrong with your plan A.
That's right. It wouldn't hurt to have a backup plan, but The only downside of backup plans is all those backup plans could be ruined with a bit of damage. So, one small incident could affect your arrow, and you could be down at least 5-10 miles per hour on speed. So, hopefully for all these drivers, they keep themselves out of trouble and get there to the end.
Minute left here in the happy hour, and just another reminder that I believe custom numbers were turned on for this race. So the numbers you may be accustomed to seeing tonight may not show up on some people's cars, but I think most of the people still have the numbers that they're supposed to have. But, I mean, Christopher Weil again came into tonight with a 30-point gap over Dominic Cow and 37 up on William Schmidt. And with all three of them in the field, all three of them still have a chance. But do you think that Chris could be toppled, or do you think this 41 might have it almost in the bag already?
Don't know, because usually in typical ARCA fashion, we'd see a lot of big wrecks. Oh my gosh, just like that. We see a lot of big wrecks on the first half of the race, and I don't think there's going to be enough cars for Dominic and William to pass that number 41 unless that 41 of Wild is involved in that specific wreck. So the cards have to be right for that number 79 and 86 for them to come out as championship. But it's very slim though.
Well, time to find out as we're going to grid up here for 47 laps here at Talladega, the last 47 laps of the Yost Auto Sales Series season. Row number 1, Liam Knox in the 76, his first pole of this winter season. Kyle Wynn in the 084 came oh so close to winning here in the 87 series, but couldn't quite get it done.
And row number 2 going to be Mitch Hobbs in that number 89. He too has yet to pick up a win. Actually a super speedway champion in that number 89. That number 55, Brody Gardner, right alongside him.
Brody's picked up 2 wins here in ARCA so far this season. Enzo Gauthier, I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. He'll be in 5th, and Spencer Burns came up just short in this series race at Martinsville a few weeks ago.
Row number 4 going to go ahead and consist of your points leader, that number 41, Christopher Weil, rounding out in 7th place. Hunter Johnson, in the meantime, that number 12, most wins this season, he rounds out in 8th.
Most wins all time as well for that 12 car. John Cannizzaro, solid qualifying run for him there in 9th. And Dominic Cow, championship contender, will roll off in 10th place. Rest of the order will be shown on the bottom of your screen. Pick your favorite driver, and hopefully they'll do good or maybe even win. Mentioned Peter Kenny. Looks like he'll roll off 11th here for tonight. So we'll see where he is in regards with his teammates. And it looks like he's got 2 of them pretty close. But now our eyes are going to be on where William Schmidt is. And it looks like it's going to be an 18th place start for that 79.
Scroll through the rest of the field, and it seems as though looks like Wow is gonna pit start. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting strategy in my opinion, to pit start, especially as the points leader. You don't want to get in a position in which you're trapped laps down, and once a caution comes out, you're not gonna be that lucky dog. And
if he's the only one that pit starts, he's going to be all by himself with no drafting help at all. So a bit of a risky maneuver there for the 41. And, you know, if we end up having a green run that goes for a while, and it looks like he's actually not the only one that's going to pit start, but he could end up like 40th place for a good chunk of the race. And if Dominic's up there in like 3rd or 4th place, that could be enough to maybe hand the championship over to him. So, as they say, that's a bold strategy, Cotton, but we'll see how it plays out for him.
Yep, that is right. Again, race analysis shown on the left-hand side of the screen. 30-35 is your fuel window. We should expect people on pit road as early as lap number 27. We'll just have to see, though. Weather is static here for tonight. No movement around. Unfortunately, though, the track temperature is saying otherwise. It's sort of saying, yeah, I'm very hot for right now. But we'll see if that changes as we progress with the night. Otherwise than that, glad to continue us in here for tonight's Talladega 150 final race of the season. Points leader, that number 41, Christopher Weil. We'll see if he can round himself as the champion here for tonight. And here we go. iSCAR scoots itself left for the penultimate time here at Talladega. 47 laps.
All on the line here. Will Christopher Weil, Dominic Howard, William Schmidt walk out a champion? 47 laps to find out here. Liam Knox and Kyle Wynn lead us to the green flag, and we are just about underway here at Talladega. Green flag is out for 47 laps.
Field rolls to a start as they cross the start-finish line first.
Look at the run that Wynn got on the outside off the start. We saw that in the LCQ as well, where Latham Joyner, or not Latham Joyner, but I believe it was Justin Johnson in the 33, got a much better start than the actual leader did. And we see that again as those two outside lines are even, but it looks like that's going to be all for naught as the 084 looks like it's going to be dropping to the back, as are quite a few other people.
Yeah, this is the most sketchy part of this of the night, is who's going to be dropping back. Hopefully everybody communicates on the radio on who they're dropping back to.
Looks like the leader, Liam Knox, also will be dropping back. And, oh, we have a crash already in turn 3. Multiple cars around already. And they going to stay green? Did they save that?
I'm not really sure what happened. They're 4 wide. What in the world?
4 wide for the lead. I saw someone dead sideways in the middle of 3, and this is super sketchy here. 4 wide on lap number 1, and hopefully they don't wreck it, but that is really, really close. As Mitch Hobbs
they're still 4 wide.
Oh, Harrison Chandler.
What a save.
Saves it.
They're still looking
That
for.
big. And it looks like they're good for now, but man, 4 wide on lap 1 is quite ambitious, but thankfully they did not wreck. Though, of course, they still might. They're still all over each other into turn 3. As Spencer Burns, I believe that's the Army car on the high side that has an 01 on it, but that's the 06 of Spencer Burns, leads the high side. Mitch Hobbs on the bottom with help from John Cannizzaro in the 74.
Yes, he says, oh, we're going to stay green, but in the meantime,
Look at Dominic.
It's 3 wide action as Frimpong works himself through in the number 11/53 machine. But Mitch Hobbs in that number 89, of course, Super Speedway champion. Number 89 taking his talents here at Thega. Will lead his first laps of the night, being pushed by Cannizzaro. So still a lot of laps to go, but already stacking 3 wide toward the back.
Now look at that third car on the inside. That's the 86 of Dominic Cal, one of the championship contenders tonight. If he can get himself up into the lead for at least 1 lap tonight, that's a critical bonus point that he'll get as he tries to flag down that 41 of Christopher Weil for the championship. And even 1 single point can be the difference between finishing first and second in the standings. So for that 86, even though he's already up there, he's got to get himself up to that very first spot as quick as possible, and then see how he approaches the rest of the race.
Yeah, as of right now, your championship leader is that number 86. Weil is all the way back in that 42nd position. So with Dominic being 5th as of right now, that's enough points to pass that leader, that number 41, and he'll be your champion if this race gets crowned on lap number 4. But as of right now, it's still 47 laps on the line as Eduardo Munoz gets back onto the racetrack and moves left out of everybody's way.
First time he's been here in a very, very long time. I don't think he's made a start here in over 2 years, but it looks like a pit start perhaps for him as well. Brian C. Moen and Carson Poindexter also decided to pit start, so those two should be in a pack with Weil somewhere on this racetrack. But the 06 of Burns clears into turn 3, and I think he's trying to block both lines in a bit of a...
Oh, they're 4 wide again!
Block there, whoa! Cannizzaro gets a bit loose there on the apron, and Frimpong had to react and almost got a little too far up as we complete lap number 4. But again, these are the trickiest cars to drive on super speedways because, again, these bumpers do not align. So you see how all over the place these guys are. Even one bad push could spell trouble for quite a few people.
And look at that. They're going to dip that number 12, Hunter Johnson, in the middle. No help for him. All the way back to the 03 of Latham Joyner. But up front, Liam Sheen takes the Kevin LePage machine to the front. So the 77.
What a move.
Oh, they're still looking around as Spencer Burns wants to find himself back to the front. But look how hard they are pinching back there. The 31 of Austin Johnson, he's in the mix of that as well. And they're still 3 wide.
Burns makes a move up high to try to gain some momentum off the 53, or in this case the 11, of Mark Frimpong. And it looks like the 06 is going to get there at the line. But I think... no, he'll be able to clear into turn 1. Good move for him in that number 06, or in this case 01. But here comes Frimpong as Burns blocks again. So that 53 in that second line definitely has a big head of steam. but he's got to get through the 06 first before he can get to the lead.
Look at that,
But look
3
at
by
the
3,
third line,
5
yeah.
rows deep. And that's Austin Johnson and that number 31 who's leading that high side with Latham Joyner and Garrett Hess in that 777. Another contender right there. There's that 777 of Garrett Hess. If he gets enough points, he'll move himself ahead of that number 41.
Yeah, and Latham just literally advanced from the LCQ as the last car to get in, and only basically 6 laps into this race, he's already in the top 10. So that goes to show you how crazy super speedway racing is, where he literally gained 30+ spots in just about 5 minutes of actual time. But we'll see if that 03 can stay up there as tonight goes on, but we're still 3 wide for the lead here in the middle of 2.
That's right. Luckily, it seems as though there's no outcast that's really dead sideways or anything like that, or anybody who's making any abrupt moves. As I say that, the 31, Austin Johnson, will go down to the middle and fend out Spencer Burns.
I thought we were going to go 4 wide there for a second. His bumper got really squirrely for a moment as he came into turn 3. Sheen still leads the bottom as the 31 drops down to the middle line. Joyner now leading up high with 1 less car in tow. So that might hurt the performance of the third line for a bit, but it looks like we'll see if more people end up jumping up there. And at the line, Johnson will lead and he'll go down to the bottom.
A lot of cars on the high side as well. We'll see if Latham Joyner can make something happen with the 777 and Garrett Hess. Right behind him, that's Brody Garner in the 55, but now there are only the 3 cars up there on the high side as one of the PPM cars is going to dip out on that action. That might have been Kevin White Jr., not really sure about that, but down the back straightaway, side by side for the lead. Here comes a run by the 03 of Latham Joyner. We'll see if he could clear into turn number 3.
And he'll be able to go all the way down to the bottom, so good move there for the 03. So the very last car to get in from the LCQ now leads the field just 7 and change laps in to this race. So if that's a pretty good summary of how super speedway racing works, where even if you start dead last in this field, you still have an equal chance to win as everybody else does.
Yep, that
Which, of course,
right.
can be said about any tracks, but especially these.
Yeah, that's very true. Burns leading the middle now. Right behind him is the 11/53 of Mark Frimpong. Frimpong is clear to the high side. Never mind that. Hess has a run. We'll see if Hess and Brody Garner could make another charge for that high side. They just need more cars up there to make that third line work, but they're still keeping themselves side by side for right now. But looks like Burns is going to clear for that top spot. Move the 01 to the front.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few lead changes already, and I'm sure we're going to see more and more of them as this night progresses. And yeah, you see only 2 cars up there on the third lane, another one further back. So that momentum on the third line definitely has fallen off. But all it takes is maybe one of those guys in the middle to jump up high, and that could easily restart the momentum that they have. As Chandler just about got himself down there. I don't know if that was Chandler, but it was a close call regardless. As that, I don't know what that scheme is, but that's something.
Yeah, that's the 404 Blaze
That's
Crawford
Kenny
running
Brady.
the... Where's that Kenny Brady? No.
It's one of them.
Yeah, it's one of them. I'm not really sure, but in the meantime...
Oh, they're both running the same scheme.
Oh.
That is definitely something. As Frimpong gets squirrely, but thankfully he can get up in front of Hess and a wreck does not occur. But they were almost 4 wide there and going into turn 3, and that could have spelled disaster. As Joyner and Burns still side by side here for the lead, as the third line still hasn't quite got back up there yet, even with Frimpong jumping up.
Update on the number 39. Looks like there's a couple of more cars that are getting tagged along. A separate pack being led by, I think this is a 61. Not really sure who that is, but up front, though, a big steam of cars as a big move there by the 12. Hunter Johnson will pick up the high side. We'll see if Frimpong's trying to take it 4.
I think Hunter may be trying to drop to the back, and maybe Frimpong didn't get the memo or something. But that's going to really make this interesting as Kenny Brady in the 54 now leads the high side. But he's going to get a bit of a push here, I believe, from Hunter. But again, you got to be really careful when you push into the corners. Because again, one bad push can spell disaster for a lot of people. Look at Sartaj Mon in the 49 out of nowhere. He's now up into this mix, into this top 5 for the first time tonight. Could he try to make a move up high?
They're racing so aggressively, especially for these first 11 laps. This is the most wide racing I've seen in a while. They're still 3 by 3. But yeah, we love it. A lot of action on the racetrack, but hopefully everybody keeps it straight. Here comes another run on the highest side, and this will be by, I think, Sir Taj. I'm not really sure, but they worked themselves at the front. No, never mind. That's Kenny Brady in the 54. He's getting a nice push by the number 12, Hunter Johnson, but it seems as though nice clear by the 54, and he moves himself to the front.
I think he might have some rear end damage. I don't know if that's a glitch or if it was.
Oh my gosh!
Damage. And Kenny Brady goes hard into the outside wall, and that's going to be our first question of the night. And it looks like everybody else will avoid him, but there were definitely other cars involved, and a massive hit to the 54 will end his night in a heartbeat.
And that is the result of blocking. You don't want to throw a bad block. And unfortunately,
that was bound to happen.
Yeah, that was bound to happen. Spencer Burns was just throwing so many blocks. But it wasn't him who got wrecked. It was a 54, Kenny Brady.
What a hit. Looks like Hunter Johnson and Burns both got damage as well in this. So I think Kenny came up to block and then got loose off the bumper, and man, what a hit that was. Hopefully Garrett Hess in the 777 didn't suffer any damage. He was right in front of, or right behind of where this happened. There's an onboard with Hunter right into the windshield of that 12 car with nowhere to go. And again, left to see if that 777 got any damage, because I believe he still might be mathematically eligible, just barely. But with Kenny retiring, I don't even know if it's possible now for him to win.
That was a hard hit.
He might be alright. I don't think he hit anything.
Yeah, I don't think he hit anything.
But I think he came in like 41 points back. It was close.
Alright, here we go. Pit road's open.
See
no surprise, everybody hits pit road, and see, Latham! He didn't realize he was one of the first stalls, and he overshoots his pit stall, so rip that lead.
Yeah, Garrett Hess came into tonight 50 points back of Chris. I don't think he had a chance anyway. But of course, still wants to have a good run regardless. And looks like Spencer Burns also may have overshot his pit stalls. That's something to keep an eye on. We were talking about perhaps some pit road penalties, but even pit road penalties under yellow can have a detrimental effect. And of course, overshooting your pit stall isn't the penalty, but still very easy to do. There's Kyra Wynn. He overshoots his stall as well, as everyone makes their way off the pit lane for the first time tonight. And I don't know what's going on there with that blue car.
Missing pit road. This is the first time these drivers are on pit road, so just trying to find their stalls and such like that. But do have an interesting turn of events here. The number 86 of Dominic Howe going to elect to stay out, and he will pick up a bonus point. So that is one less point.
That's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it. He has to stay out in this scenario. So that means that gap will go from, I think, 30 points to 29.
Yeah, Wild is 35th right now, and again, it was a 30-point lead for Chris, and with Dominic leading and Chris 35th, and with that bonus point, Dominic Howe currently is your championship leader, about a fourth, or about a third of the way through the race. So, of course, you know, Chris could easily get himself back up there. Now, that's why he pit started, but he's going to definitely have to pick and choose when he does to make sure he doesn't get caught up in another wreck like the one we just saw. As Eduardo Munez in the 29 will take the wave around, or get the lucky dog, rather. So he'll be on the lead lap in his first race here in iSCAR in over 2 years. So we'll see what he can do as this race goes on. I believe that's going to put everybody on the lead lap now, probably except for Kenny Brady.
Spencer Burns in the 06 taking extensive repair on that machine. He'll work himself out, of course. Him and Kenny Brady making contact with that one. And he's going to work himself down on the pit road, and it seems as though Dominic Howe is going to enter pit road. Oh, no! Never minded that. That's a late move on the pit road, and had to cut through the grass, so he's going to have to sort of cut himself back, but I'm not sure about staying yourself out. Dominic saying, oh, I want to say myself out, just be up front and such, but we still have one more pit stop to go, and that 86, hitting pit road,
Yeah,
actually, never minded that. I think staying out would be the right call, because either way, all these drivers still have to pit at least one more time. Look how many cars did.
These guys are all topping off on fuel. But it depends on how many pace laps we end up having. If this thing goes green from here on out, everyone's going to have to pit, I believe, at least one more time. I think the window was 30 to 35, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be going green with 32 to go. So it'll be right in the middle of that fuel window. But if it goes green all the way and then there's like a caution with maybe 2 to go, that puts us in a green-white checkered spot, that could throw a wrench into everything. But if they can make it from here on out, then those top 4 that stayed out are going to be in an interesting predicament later on in the race.
Yeah, the only person who actually really stayed out was the 86 of Dominic Howell. Everybody else is just staying out on the racetrack just to pick up track position, but only at the cost of a bit of fuel consumption. So we'll see if they can make it to the end because they pit a bit earlier. That's a bit outside the window, so they're going to have to save just a bit. I wouldn't say too much, though, but they could save easily at least 1 or 2 laps just laying back. But all those drivers who hit pit road, 100% from this point forward.
Might see later on in the race some guys maybe try to conserve some fuel on the apron, a common theme that we see at super speedway races. So if this thing goes green maybe to like 5 or so to go, there will definitely be fuel conservation under pace. And you'll see quite a few people below that yellow line trying to save as much as possible. But the pace lights are off here, so they're off, but this field is extremely disorganized, so they're going to have to get themselves gridded up really quick. This is going to be a really messy restart with nobody really gridded up the way they should be. But Dominic Howe, Mitch Hobbs, Harrison Chandler, Garrett Hess, Liam Sheen, your top 5 here for the first restart of the night. And looks like only the first 7 or 8 rows are actually gridded up 2 by 2. We're back underway here. 32 laps remaining here at Talladega.
And that is the result of everybody coming down on the pit road and topping off. You have to line yourself up single file, but luckily, I think everybody got a good enough restart in which they're going to be grouped up in I'd say a few laps. But right now, everybody's trying to get themselves sorted out, and hopefully they could latch onto that lead draft and get there toward the end. But right now, it seems as though Dominic Howell, the 86, never minded that. Some cars going to drop to the high side. Drop to the high side. What am I saying of that? Fling up to the high side. The 22 of Harrison Chandler are joined in by the 77 of Liam Sheen.
Yeah, 2 by 2 already here into 3. Harrison Chandler, the 22, trying to lead his first laps of this winter season. And I think he's going to have a good enough run on the high side to get there. His one car on the apron. But
oh my gosh!
Who was that? Oh my goodness, that's Kenny Brady in the 54. I think he may be trying to stay out to try to maybe stay out as long as possible. And that could have been an engine expiration, but he's just sitting out on the racetrack in the middle of turn 3 while they're green. So I think these guys are all coming up on him here. So he's just parked on the track, and here comes Nick Miller in the 95, plows into him. And Omar Diallo in the 1 does as well. What in the world is he doing just sitting out on the track like that?
Yikes.
Just parked there.
Oh, man.
What in the heck?
That's the 95 of Nick Miller, you are right.
And Diallo. Man, what?
That's a shame.
I mean, did his engine expire and he just sat there rather than tow it? Like, what was even... I mean, they're literally green. The leaders are coming up on him in turn 3, and he's just parked there. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, we're not going to comment on that. I don't even want to comment on that. Because all that's in my head is just negativity, but... Yikes.
Well,
luckily it didn't take out as many people as I thought it would, but... Meantime of that...
Alright,
that's a shame.
well... Dominic will come down pit road for the first time tonight. The other 3 that stayed out last time looks like will do so once again. Chandler, Hobbs, and Hess. After one of the most bizarre wrecks I think I've ever seen here in iSCAR. And it looks like a couple more people will also stay out in addition to those top 3. Looks like Sammy Yaya in his first ever start. Peter Kenny, and Latham Joyner. And everybody else topping off on fuel. So at this point, with 29 to go, I think everyone that's pit this time is going to be good to go, barring green, white checkers.
Right? Get it racked up. Everybody's going to have the chance to fling it on a pit road again. So for all the drivers on pit road, easy top off, and they're going to be secure all the way to the end, no doubt about it. But go ahead and re-rack it up and probably go green on hopefully lap number 20 or 21.
That was just bizarre as anything. So Nick Miller's night probably over here on lap 18. Looks like Harrison Chandler in the 22 will lead us back to the green once we get it in that autism machine there. Remember, it was an interview a long time ago. I think it was after a modified race where he talked about how he races with autism and how he deals with it on a daily basis. And he always runs that scheme whenever he runs here in iSCAR. And it's good to see some support for, a group of people that may not always be looked at the same as other people. And it's pretty cool to see him out front there in that scheme here at Talladega.
Yeah, he's been close a few times. I know you mentioned that Bristol race, he was really close. A couple seasons ago on the Super Speedway side, he too was very close on picking up the win in that season. So here he is running up front. Usually when the time is now for him to show up front, of course, proves himself up a front runner. So here's the 22 of Harrison Chandler now, probably going to lead the field to green.
Looks like it's going to elect the outside line here for the restart. So an interesting call there. So we'll see how that pans out for him. Mitch Hobbs in the 89 will lead that bottom side to the green. Of course, he has never won in iSCAR yet, but again, did pick up the Super Speedway Championship over the summer, which proves that consistency can be key, and sometimes winning isn't necessarily everything. But I'm sure for that 89, he definitely still wants to take home a checkered flag, and he's got a pretty good shot to do it here tonight.
Alright. So I think Chandler's the leader. He's going to be leading this high side to the green.
Yeah, so it's going to be Chandler, Hobbs, Hess, Sammy Yaya, and Peter Kenny, the top 5. So we mentioned earlier how Peter might try to work with his teammates. He's got one right behind him in the 6 of Max Urich, so we'll see what those two Supreme cars can do here on the restart. And it looks like Dominic's only going to line up around 11th. So he didn't really lose many spots by pitting. So still up there in a pretty good spot in terms of track position, especially compared to Christopher Weil, who I believe is still somewhere. I think he might be between 10th and 20th now. I think he gained quite a bit now. Or not, 41st. So I believe he's still the points leader as of now.
Yeah, I think he is. We'll see. Dominic is sitting 10th, and Weil is sitting all the way back in 41st. So, yeah, technically, Dominic leads this thing by a point.
A point. Yeah, the point for leading the lap is the difference right now.
Yeah, that's right. That just tells you, every point matters, here at Dega. Or here in the finale. It matters anywhere. Green flag is out. Up and away we go. Now everybody's grouped up 2 by 2, so I'm pretty sure we're going to have a hectic restart as we get situated. But a 3 wide already right behind as drivers get sorted out. Frank DeAngelis in the number 69 drops toward the back. But up front, though, they're getting really, really close. But now they start to fan out. Some drivers going to whip out, take it 3 wide, and that's Brody Gardner, the 55. No help to him. Never mind that. Latham Joyner might join him. No pun intended.
Bit of an update as well. Turns out Nick Miller actually got no damage from that incident with Kenny Brady, just nut-coated right through him. So a good break there for the 95 to not have his race end like that. But here comes Brody in the 55. Looks like Ken Nazaro in the 74 is going to jump up high. And there's Spencer Burns with that noticeable roof damage from the Kenny Brady wreck. And now he's back up there. So that damage may look bad, but it looks like it's not hurting the car's performance that much. And we're already 3-3 once again.
That is right, and Hess took a block to that number 22 of Harrison Chandler. Look at the high side in the meantime of that. Huge momentum, and look how stacked up we are.
Wow.
3-3. This looks amazing. I've never seen this before. It's been a while since I've seen them stack up 3-3 in iSCAR, and this is honestly a good change in pace. Some of these drivers, though, are going to say otherwise of that. They want to back out of it. That's Max Yerk and Dominic Howe.
I don't blame them. It's getting a bit dicey as Garrett Hess got a big head of steam as Joyner flings it down to the bottom and makes it
4 wide.
4 wide as AJ Bain's going to hit the wall.
And he's going to turn somebody.
Into the wall he goes. And Liam Sheen in the 77. Caution back out once again. And it involves the 8 of AJ Bain and the 77 of Liam Sheen here in the middle of turn 3. And the 8 will come to rest coming out of turn 4. And now we'll get it going. But just ran right out of track and around he went.
Yeah, there were 4 wide. They were sort of a bit of, I wouldn't say miscommunication there, but some driver flung it to the low side.
That was Joyner.
Oh, Spencer Burns really shoving it through the middle, and that's why Latham made that abrupt move to the inside, and it was Mark Frimpong in the 53 who was trying to follow through, and AJ sort of got spooked in.
AJ got wall glued is what happened. When he tried to get his car off the wall, it just went right down into Liam Sheen. And I believe that other lime car with all the pictures on it, I think that's Blaze Crawford. He got the outside wall as well. So it looks like 3 cars with damage. And as soon as he tried to get off the wall, it just snapped right down into that 77. But I think AJ had to react to Frimpong coming up as much as he did. And ended up reacting a little too much and just got into the wall there. So another quick caution here on lap 22. We had about 12-13 lap run to start the race. But now 3 relatively close cautions to each other. So we'll line them up and do it again. And I would expect more people to maybe come down pit road and top off on fuel. Because depending on how this race goes, you might need some extra fuel for green white checkered attempts.
But of course, with these cautions, you're going to be able to save some bit of fuel. As to the 55 Garner, Spencer Burns, they're going to go ahead and fling themselves onto pit road. And let's just put Garrett Hess in the 777 toward the front.
Actually, they may have been the only 2 cars that came down.
No, they were definitely not.
I think a lot of people did. Oh yeah, there they all are. So more topping off of fuel here. Hopefully nobody overshoots their pit stall this time. Spencer Burns in and out. Looks like this will be a fuel-only stop for probably almost everybody in the field. There's Miller getting his way off. There's Brody. Cairo winning the 084. Looks like he will not overshoot his pit stall this time, so that's good for him. As most people already completing their fuel stops and will be under green here shortly once again.
Of course, gotta mention the no tire set limits. Not like it really did matter, but you want to come in and take tires just in case if you spawn out. No problem right there, and then out you go. And
yeah, and again, go ahead.
And okay, I had to mention about the shorter cautions that iRacing implemented a few seasons ago. Now, instead of 4 or 5 caution laps at Talladega, it's now down to 3. So we don't have to be snoozing around. For the next couple of minutes. I saw a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, we're only halfway through this race. We're actually going to hit the halfway point on this next pace lap. So, it sounds weird, but time's starting to run out a bit. Even if you're Dominic Howe, who's gotten a bit further back in the field now with some pit stops, Christopher Weil still sits in only 29th place. So with him being in 29th, that's not enough ground for Dominic as of now. But I think as this race starts to close in on the end, I think that 41 may start to get a bit closer to the front, but not too close. He may end up getting caught in a wreck. I think he might try to hover maybe around 15th or 20th place, high enough where he can't lose the championship by virtue of finishing positions, but not far enough back where he ends up in a vulnerable spot where he can. But we'll see how it all pans out, and again, still half the race to determine how it does. But I think this is where strategies are really going to start coming into play.
Alright, we'll go ahead and see. Hit the green on lap number 25. So this will give us about 23 laps of racing left. Of course, if you pit from this point forward, you'll be able to make it all the way to the end. For all these drivers now, just a question on who's going to be there toward the end now, because it's going to be a dead sprint from this point forward.
Yeah, you just mentioned with the fuel situation, even with green-white checkered attempts, with with a 30 to 35 lap window, only 23 to go plus those laps, everybody will be fine if they just pit onto this last attempt. So fuel should no longer be an issue for most of the people in the field. But I think for Hess, Chandler, and Hobbs, I think those three may have to pit one more time. But we'll see if they get another caution at some point to do so.
Yep, that is right. Alright, here we go. So it's Garrett Hess, Harrison Chandler, Mitch Hobbs, John Cannizzaro, Mark Frimpong, Latham Joyner, Sammy Yaha, Brady Wildman is also up here in the mix. Ryan Kendrick, Colton Zimmer, and Spencer Burns, all the top 11. Here we go. iSCAR gonna scoot itself left. And hit up with the green this time by.
23 to go at the line. Garrett Hess, Harrison Chandler will lead us to the green. And we are back underway here with just half the race remaining here to determine who will win this championship.
Oh man, they did not go on the restart. Hess didn't hit the throttle. He wanted to go on green. They're already 4 wide in the back. Burns is gonna split the middle. Or at least try to.
Oh, contact between the 55 and the 61 into turn 1. Cannizzaro's trying to get back in line behind the 22, but he can't quite do so. The gap did not open up enough for him to do that, and they're still getting pretty dicey out of turn 2, and you're going to see more people start to drop to the back, and it wouldn't shock me if we see another wreck here soon, especially now with Frimpong blinking in front of the entire field.
And nobody wants to work with that number 53, but luckily, oh, it will fix itself coming into turn number 3, so we'll see how this will re-rack up this high side. Oh, that's the 50 of Brady Wildman. He's trying to find a hole in line, but unfortunately no spot to avail right there. Miller's going to work himself down low of him.
Still 3 wide across the line as Chandler got shuffled out from the poor restart he got. Frimpong will lead at the line. We'll see if he comes down into turn 1. But it looks like he's going to stay up there with his teammate Joyner, and now that's going to allow Hess to pull up alongside him with Mitch Hobbs.
Look at the run they got into the bottom side. They actually separated. Oh, I think I was not really sure what happened there, but as there's a lot of cars scrambling down the back straightaway. Well, in the meantime of that, I'd say 4 cars are sort of slowly trying to pull away from this big old pack. Frimpong, Garrett Hess, Mitch Hobbs, and Latham Joyner. On the mix of that, they're still 2x2 up front. Here comes the high side. It's Harrison Chandler, and I think it's Brady Wildman. They're not going to go anywhere, though.
Yeah, they got a decent run, but they need one more person to get up there, and there we go. They got the 74 Cannizzaro up there. Johnson
oh my gosh!
And that was close as Frimpong barely is able to come down as Johnson almost hit the wall, or actually Chandler almost hit the wall there into turn 1. They're getting really dicey now. They got to be careful. This might be a big one here soon.
Yep, that is right. On the high side, it's the 22 of Harrison Chandler. In the middle, that's the 03 of Latham Joyner. But on the bottom side, that's the 53 of Mark Frimpong. And as they work themselves into 3 and 4, that outside line starting to jam up a bit. We'll see if this gives the opportunity for Spencer Burns to maybe shoot out to that high side and make a run for that top spot, but looks like no.
Looks like it's not clear to yet. As Chandler's going to get a big run here through the trial, he's going to be able to pull up alongside that 06, but not enough to where he can pull up to where the 03 is, who now comes down, and Latham Joyner now will lead the field, coming to just 20 laps to go. So start to be closing time here at Talladega. Those guys like Dominic and Chris might want to start considering getting back up here as quick as they can if they haven't already lost this first main pack.
Yeah, they are all the way toward the back, just minding their own P's and Q's, but up front, it's a whole contrasted story as they are 3 by 3, 4 rows deep, maybe even 7 rows deep as drivers get themselves situated for that high side. Oh my goodness, what a move there by the 74, Ken Azaro.
Yeah, the third line's gonna, looks like, fall apart for the time being. Only 3 cars currently up there now, with 74 jumping down. Brody Gardner in the 55 up into 4th place, 2nd car up high. That blue and yellow, or the blue and green car, I think that's a Jeff Gordon Looney Tunes throwback there for him. Remember, this is a throwback vote here tonight. Whoever has the best one on the field, I believe, wins some cash. So,
yep,
bit of a side note, I guess, for this race. But Joyner still leads that bottom, and Spencer Burns with that roof damage now leads that middle line. But it looks like that's not hurting his car that much aerodynamically.
That's right. Luckily, if he had front-end damage, I think it would have started to affect his car, but as of right now, no effect as he's running 3rd as of right now alongside the 777 of Garrett Hess. Now to the high side goes Frimpong. We'll see if Burns is going to work with him, and Brody is going to go even higher. 3 wide for that 2nd spot. Side by side for the lead, though. The 2 teammates are trying to... Oh, there goes the 11!
There goes Frimpong! And I think he's going to keep it off the wall, but Joyner can't. More cars go around. And this is going to be another caution.
It won't be, most likely, because they all spun to the apron.
Oh, no. That was like 5 people. And look at how
there's the caution.
Caution is out.
That was a very delayed caution, but we see how small that pack got. But Frimpong was the first one around, and the couple, I think Joyner got some damage as well. But we'll definitely get another look at that and see what brought out the 4th caution of the night here on lap 31. That was interesting.
Wow, that was a big scramble. Looks like Spencer Burns, or...
I think the 06 got into the 53. We'll see here.
Oh, yeah, Spencer.
Yeah, look them.
And
then
Mitch.
There's Joyner. Oh, his tire glitched. His tire went outside of the car. I think Frimpong may have actually kept that car out of the inside wall.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. It was a tire glitch.
Well,
right about
the tire
here.
was out of the car.
Yeah, the tire was out of the car.
Clapper,
but Mitch was going to run into him either way.
Agreed. Henry Clapper, the 34, he's got some damage. Nick
Ooh.
Miller. Oh, no, Mitch. At the very end of it, as they're still catching up to these guys, as that one car barely missed getting involved in that. So Mitch got involved at the very end, and I think a couple other people went around. But out of all of that, Brody Gardner in the 55 takes the race lead.
Get another replay of it.
06.
Here's a wider shot, and it's going to tell a bigger story. Right about here.
The 53 came up a bit. And then when he came back down, the 06 was already there.
Nick Miller again lucky as he netcoded through that event.
Yep. There's Clapper, the white, black, and green car. And then there's Joyner came back up into Mitch.
And that's what triggered the caution.
At the very end of it. So this somehow wasn't going to be a yellow until that 03 came back up the hill the second time.
Oh, never mind. Nick did get damage.
And that's Blaze Crawford that the 03 hit when he came back up the track. And then there's the 03 coming up again into Mitch. And then, woo, man, whoever that is, with a close call, getting around that 89. And that's going to probably be the end of the night for Mitch Hobbs. And again, Brody Gardner now the race leader, and Chandler's back up in the second.
What the interesting thing about this is there's still a lot of drivers in contention. Just because you saw them 3x3 stacked up, I'd say 5, 6, 7 rows deep, that wasn't necessarily the entire field. Those drivers toward the back, all these drivers who wrecked out, they could easily replace for that position. So we still have a lot of contenders. As I'd say we're coming down here to 14 laps to go once we take the green. And
Yeah,
those people... Oh, you go ahead.
In terms of cars that have gotten damaged, I think that wreck we just had might be the wreck that's the most cars actually suffered damage. And I think Kenny Brady, it looks like him and Omar Diallo, I think, are the only two that are actually out of the race. So still plenty of room for, I guess, maybe error if you're Christopher Weil and Dominic Howe. Yeah, it looks like only 3 people or 4 people are done for the night. So this championship still, believe it or not, this thing is not over yet. As Dominic Howe currently runs 14th, Schmidt runs 19th, and Weil 27th. So Weil still, as of now, is the points leader. But Chris needs to stay where he is, or maybe even gain a couple more spots, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, the thing is, if there's enough cars that are out of the race, that championship picture could be locked up. All Weil has to do is really lay toward the back and let all those drivers wipe themselves out, if he wants to bet with that strategy. As of right now, it's sort of working out with him with that big wreck, wiping out, I'd say, 3-4 cars. So, for the number 41, Christopher Weil, if he wants to lay back to secure the championship that way, it could work that way, but who knows? The 86 of Dominic Howe could pick up more bonus points, leading most laps and such like that, so that gap could even shrink even further. So I wouldn't necessarily say that 41's out of the blue yet, but there's still a championship to be decided here.
Yeah, and not a lot of laps left for that 86 and the 79 to try to get stuff done. And the thing is that Dominic and William could finish first and second in this race. And if Christopher Weil finishes third right behind him, it means absolutely nothing. So the only way that those two, and I believe Dominic and William are separated themselves by about 7 points. So the only way that those two even have a chance at this championship is that they basically have to either get a top 5 or win the race. And Chris is going to have to wreck out very soon and probably finish 35th or worse. Which, again, it's Talladega, it's possible, but as these laps start to wind down, I think the likelihood of that happening is going to start to slow more and more.
You also got to mention about not only Dominic Howe, but for William Schmidt as well. He's fairly in proximity of that number 86 as well. So if Dominic wrecks out and Weil gets in worst case scenario, William Schmidt could still pick up this championship somehow. But he just has to pull the impossible.
Yeah, William came into tonight 37 points back of the 41. So it's going to take pretty much an all-out miracle for that 79 to pick up the win. And I think at this point, he's going to need to get up to the front as quick as possible. And I think at this point, just lead every lap from here on out. Because I don't know who's led the most laps and how many laps it is. But even that bonus point for leading the most laps could be the difference. I don't know if that graphic is up anywhere. But we've had so many lead changes that I don't even know who's led the most tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Only 3, 4, 5 laps led by all our leaders. Most being led by Garrett Hess with 5 as of right now. So if you could
That
somehow...
bonus point's up for grabs, yeah.
Yeah, that still opens up most laps led. So we'll just have to find out on who's going to shuffle out where, but in the meantime of that, another restart going to go up and away. 14 laps to go. For Brody Gardner in that number 55, Harrison Chandler in that number 22. Trying to end the season with a win.
Yeah, and of course, this is only the end of this season. You know, we're still going to have races on Wednesdays after tonight. So you've got the Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Series starting next Wednesday, and I'm really excited for that. But before we get there, we've got to get through these last 14 laps and some post-race interviews. But for right now, Brody still leads that bottom side, as the outside didn't quite get that good of a start, but Chandler's still pacing it for now.
Oh, got a wreck!
Oh, and there's the big one. It finally happened with 14 to go. Peter Kenny hits the outside wall. A couple more cars in some trouble, and this is gonna.
They're still staying straight. Oh, never mind. There's a car spinning out.
Oh,
that's Dylan Basin.
Oh.
There's the caution.
Caution is out.
Yeah, that was. Peter went around in front of a lot of cars, and it looked big, but I think again, a lot of people did a good job of getting out of the harm's way, but Dylan Basin not so much, unfortunately, and looks like 4 or 5 cars all went around, and it looks like this is a big stack-up effect on the bottom side.
I get another replay of it. Everybody just trying to get regrouped, of course, from the restart. The thing is about restarts, I think the most dangerous time is off of a restart when nobody's picking up a draft. Everybody's starting to stack up, and you see right there the inside line just starts to stack up.
Here goes Burgee. Liam Knox, our pole sitter tonight in the 76, gets a piece. Here's Basin in the 08. Almost had it saved. Locks it down into the grass. And then I don't know who this black car is, but bam!
56.
That might be Caden Atkins.
No, that's Enzo Gauthier.
Okay, so Caden switched numbers, but a tough break there for both of those cars.
Yeah, Enzo was just trying to mind his own P's and Q's, and here comes Basin just flinging back onto the racetrack and nowhere to go for him. That is a tough way to end it here at Dega, but
there were more people around as well. There goes Burgee in that maroon car around. Here's Peter slapping the outside wall, and he tagged somebody else as well, or got into the door of somebody else.
What a save! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, great job there by the 83 to not make that any worse than it already was. But again, that wreck looked really big, but somehow it didn't end up being that big, and there were a lot less cars involved in that than I think there probably should have been. Because there should have been at least 15 cars around in that, and it looks like we only ended up with about 5. So great job by the guys that ended up spinning.
I don't know who that gold car was.
No, Dominic got into Peter there, though. Dominic just got some damage.
This is Liam Knox, the 76. I'm sort of trying to eye.
We got to get an onboard of Dominic Howe in the 86, so he made contact with Peter Kenny right there.
That may not look my...
I don't know how much it'll affect his car, but...
Yeah, that looks like a lot of damage.
So 12 to go here at Talladega. Second place in points, Dominic Howe in some late race trouble there with Peter Kenny and the other cars involved in that incident. We'll have to see if that impacts his car's performance at all. But I don't know if he's going to try to stay out with the damage or if he's going to come down and repair it.
You have to come down and repair it in this scenario.
I don't see him in the top 20. So Schmidt's 21st, Howe's 22nd, Wiles 23rd. So they're 21, 22, 23 out on the racetrack. So
yeah, they all are.
Yeah, they're all grouped together now. So Weil looks like he'll be starting behind William on the next restart. So that points gap that was made up is now a wash with them all grouped together like that.
I think worst case scenario is the 41 has to wreck, and these two have to be up front toward that top 5. That's the only way they could come out as champion. But of course, in the 79's case, he even has the margin cut down even further with a bigger points gap for him to that number 41. So just have to see. These wrecks keep on happening, and we're eliminating more drivers by the moment. Soon enough, we won't even have 30 cars available on the racetrack for this all to play Dominic Howe's way.
Hopefully we get the one to go here. And at the line, we do. So we're going to go green with just 10 laps remaining here in the race and for the season and of the entire year. So this is it for 2020. And whoever wins tonight's going to have a big boost of momentum going into 2021, which of course starts on Friday. So I guess there's multiple reasons, of course, for wanting to win, of course, besides winning. But a lot of momentum on the line, a championship on the line, some money on the line, of course, for the champion, and for the best throwback of this race and for the weekend. So lots of different things going on here tonight, and we'll see how it all pans out. But just 10 more laps to figure out who wins the race and the championship.
Update on Hunter Johnson. His wheel disconnected, so he's out of the race with a secondary issue.
Yikes. Gotta love random hardware issues.
Alright, so still a lot of people in contention of this, but that number 55 of Brody Gardner, I don't know how many wins he has this season.
I believe Brody's won twice. And
He's won 3 times, actually, so he's trying to be the first driver to win 4 times.
I know he's won 2 ARCA races. Did he win 3 ARCA races?
No, he won 2 ARCA races, a truck race, I think.
Yeah, he won he won Lucas Oil in this series, and then swept those 2 Martinsville races here with these cars and the trucks.
Right.
So Brody's had a pretty solid season. Of course, not in contention for this championship, but trying to become, again, the first driver to win 3 here this season. So we'll see if he can get it done. 10 laps to figure out if he can do it. And it looks like he'll start alongside Harrison Chandler, Garrett Hess, John Cannizzaro, and Brady Weileman will round out your top 5. Who will come out on top of the race and who will come out on top as the Yost Auto Sales Series champion?
Hopefully we don't have a stack up on the restart like we did last time. Hopefully Brody goes a bit earlier so we could see
Green.
how it all play out. Green flag is out. There were a lot of scrambling toward the back already. But we get ourselves through.
Line already.
And look at that.
Again, with only 10 laps to go, there is no time to waste at all in terms of trying to get up to the front. You cannot hold back anymore. There is no more time to lay in the back. If you want to win this race, you need to go now, and you need to get up there as quick as humanly possible. And we see that third line already starting to try to form up, and we'll see if more people jump up there this next couple laps.
I think it just has to form up, but once everybody gets up to speed, as one car gets left out to dry actually on that high side, I think that might be the 084 or Kyler Wynn, so nowhere to go for him, as he's going to drop all the way to the back, but in the meantime of that...
Whoa, blinker somewhere. Somebody's blinking. Hopefully that gets fixed quick. That could be bad if it's not.
That's Frimpong still. So we do get up to speed. Now it's just a question of who's going to whip out to the high side and make that third line work. Benjamin looks like he's going to go to the high side. Oh, Kyler makes some contact. Is that the wheel up on his car?
I think Benjamin just wanted to get out of the way of Frimpong because he's blinking, because you don't want to get stuck behind a blinker. Yeah, I think Kyler's got a tire glitch going on right now.
Nope, never mind. It fixes itself.
It was there briefly. Hopefully Mitch gets out of the way here. And indeed he will. He gets down onto the apron. We're 3 wide still as Benjamin's now caught up to the back bumper of Kyler Wynn, but that third line still needs more people up there to try to really get the line going. Here comes Chandler trying to get the lead back from that 55 of Brody, and he's got a good pusher behind him in Cannizzaro and Austin Johnson to try to do it.
Oh, Johnson's going to split the middle. Cannizzaro needs to watch out for his spotter. Here we go, 3 wide.
Whoa, and contact between Frimpong and Kyler Wynn, but they hold on to it. This is going to get really dicey here. 8 laps to go, and now Cannizzaro leads the outside with Kyler Wynn, and Gardner still led at the line.
Oh, man, they're stacking up in the middle side, but I think down the back straightaway, this will tell the story on how it'll all go. That outside line starting to stack up again. Benjamin A. White, though, is not tucked up to Kyler Wynn, but they're having a run anyway. Cannizzaro with a run.
Look at Weil behind his teammate Benjamin White. This is the first time we've seen Weil in the main pack all night after hanging out around 35th most of the night. And for him, the last thing you want to see is these guys wrecking, and they have come pretty close to wrecking quite a few times so far. And that might be Burgee up there, not Weil. But they have similar colored cars. That is Burgee, so my mistake there.
Yeah, Weil's all the way back in 31st.
They're still pretty close, though. 7 laps to go here at Talladega. Chandler, I think, got it at the line, but it's by mere hundredths of a second.
Not enough cars on that third line to make it happen. Oh my gosh, that was close between the 31 and 22. Still stacked up 3. They need more cars on that high side to make it work.
I think they've got him. I think they need one more up there.
Here they go.
Bit of a door bang there between Austin Johnson and Garrett Hess. Frimpong blinking again. That's not what Spencer Burns wants to see. As Canizaro's got a big head of steam into turn 3. He's pulled up alongside Chandler and Brody Gardner. So
Brody's going to pull the block, though, in the middle.
Brody blocks up high, and that's going to allow Garrett Hess to come up down the low side. But Brody, I don't think he can clear now. He might be stuck up there, at least for the next lap.
Austin Johnson is trying to squeeze himself 4 wide. That is a bad idea.
No.
We're stacked up 3 by 3, 5 rows deep.
Look at Canizaro up high. He actually led that lap at the line.
What a move. I mean, what a run. Kyler Wynn's doing one heck of a job pushing that high side. It's just a question on when those runs are going to be timed.
That's the key. I mean, you don't even have to clear. It's just a matter of can you be just barely ahead at the finish line, and that's all that matters when it comes, of course, to finishing. So,
oh my gosh.
We'll see.
Look how low Kyler's pinching down to the low side. He doesn't want to get that middle side.
Trying to side draft as much as possible.
That's right. It's what you have to do. Garner, in the meantime of that, he's selecting his lines just right.
5 to go.
5 laps to go. 4 wide. They got to watch their spotters.
Man. This is going to be tight into turn 1. Benjamin almost got the outside
They are
wall.
4 by 4.
Oh, man. This is where it all gets crazy.
Oh, Kyler blows the motor. Kyler Wynn blows the motor and takes out Benjamin White in the process. Actually, they don't wreck, though.
Nothing Benjamin can do, though. He's going to fall all the way out of this top pack. And unfortunately, his night's probably over.
They're still 4 wide.
What a break for Kyler.
Oh!
Johnson trying to make contact. And he makes contact with Burns. They save it. We're 4 wide here in the top 5. And they still might not be done yet. But out of turn 4, they keep it going for the time being. But they're mere inches apart right now. And those inches, if they close up, could be a huge wreck. Just 4 laps to go remaining, though.
4 laps to go. Austin Johnson, in the meantime of that, has worked himself into 3rd. This is the craziest super speedway race I've ever watched.
Here comes Canizaro again with Chandler up there.
Yeah, they need more cars, though.
Yeah, they need help, but they're hanging tough up there. They're not giving up, of course, but they do need a couple cars to jump up there with them.
They might get the run by themselves. Look at them. They're shooting out there.
Yeah, that's a heck of a run they're getting. But again, Nick needs to catch up to them quick as they lose that momentum in the turn, but I think they gain it back down the straights. So now that Nick's caught up, I think they're going to get a bigger run. But now Brody and Garrett still side by side for the lead with just 3 laps to go.
Here comes Johnson.
Austin moves up high.
Oh, this will kill the middle side because Brody, Mark Frimpong's not tucked up to Brody. They're stacking up 3 again. They're 4 wide again. Oh my gosh!
Lapped car stays out of the way. There's Dominic in the 86.
Jumps into the
wall, and that's going to end his race more than likely. Oh, and he's going to stack up Spencer Burns in the 06, who has nowhere to go, and that's going to kill his momentum. He kills Frank DeAngelis' momentum trying to get down, and we're still side by side for the lead and 3 wide for the back.
Holy crap! Oh, oops! All in the meantime of that. 2 laps to go this time by. Anything could happen. There they go! Frimpong goes around. The 90's in the air. And a big wreck.
Everybody's around.
Oh my gosh!
And with 3 laps to go, the big one has finally struck here at Talladega, and a lot of cars are involved here. And this is going to turn the entire running order on its head, and we'll see who comes out here in the top 10.
Oh my gosh!
It was a ticking time bomb. It had to happen at some point.
Oh, no doubt about it.
It finally did.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
So Brody still leads here, but a lot of people just got taken out in that. And we'll see where this started up, and you can only race like that for so long before something happens, and
the first car I saw sideways was a 90.
Oh, he got hooked by Colton Zimmer there. Frimpong gets spun, Wallerman goes around, and everybody else, Johnson clobbers the 90. And more people go spinning through the grass. Dominic misses it, At least the initial part. I mean, he may have spun in the grass. Oh, yeah, he did.
Wow.
Oh, no!
Man.
Right into Austin Johnson. And that's going to end Dominic Howe's championship hopes, I'm pretty sure. He got clipped by one of those cars that was spinning, and bam! Right into the 31. And 2 great nights between the 86 and the 31 are just about over now. So, looks like Wildman's going to stay out despite the damage he has, which is interesting, and that's going to probably hinder the low side on the restart. As we got a couple people pitting here for damage repair.
And this will shuffle more people who were laying toward the back. And this might have eliminated as too many people for Dominic Howe and William Schmidt to make something off of it. So I'm pretty sure you could just crown that number 41 as the championship now, champion now.
Well, Dominic specifically, I mean, there was with the damage he just got, there's no way he's winning it. And again, William came in 37 points back. He hasn't led a lap tonight, and because he hasn't led a lap yet, there's only 3 to go. He cannot get the most laps led point. And with at least 5, 6, 7 cars out of the race, I believe that wreck right there has clinched the championship for Christopher Weil. It's still a couple more laps, of course, to make it officially official.
That's right, and who knows what could happen within those next 2 laps. We're gonna be in green white checkered status, so just a matter of how it's gonna go, and how about some new names gonna work themselves inside this top 5. Joe Berge sitting 5th now. Max Yerk, he worked himself through that wreck. He's now 7th.
Spencer Burns still up there in the 06. Colton Zimmer, Nick Miller is another one staying out despite the damage he has.
Fortunately, I don't think Zimmer's gonna stay up there for long with that probably an EOL from that wreck. I'm not really sure. There he is, going to the side.
Patterson, one of those that advanced from the LCQ tonight. Liam Knox, the pole sitter, of course, dropped back on lap 1. Has been pretty much invisible for the whole race, but now he's back in the top 10. Here, coming to the final restart. William Schmidt in the 79, the highest running championship contender right now, hovering around 12th or so. By the way, not a lot of people may know where that throwback is from, but that is an old ARCA scheme that a guy named Mike Cook ran for quite a while in the mid-2000s. It's a very obscure scheme, but compared to the original one, it's a very, very well-done throwback for that 79. If there's any guy, or if there's any underfunded guy or back marker you might want to see run on a car, go to that 79 because he runs all of them at some point.
That's right. He's Mr. Throwback, basically.
Pretty much. Or Mr. Backmarker. In the main, truck series, he runs some Norm Benning stuff. Xfinity series, he'll run some MBM cars. He runs pretty much anything from the teams you really don't talk about that much. But the teams we're going to talk about are the ones that have those drivers up here towards the front. Brody Gardner, an SPM car. Weeb Squad there with Garrett Hess. I'm not sure which team Wildman's on. I think that's a Rapid car in Crawford, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Urick's a Supreme car. Miller SPM, but in a couple others teams sprinkled in.
Yeah, and the thing is, here's a team you don't see. Proximity.
Agreed.
And they just recently disbanded out of iSCAR. Of course, one of the iSCAR team stables for the past 2 years, 3 years.
Pretty much the flagship team that this league's always had. One of the longest tenured teams, no longer a thing here. So those typical proximity cars you guys are probably accustomed to seeing, you may not see them much anymore. But we'll see. Hunter Johnson, of course, was a longtime member of that team. You see he only ran a blank car tonight, but with these guys up front, Brody Gardner's put himself in a great position to try to pick up this win. Has led quite a few laps, and in fact, I think he may have led the most laps now. Garrett Hess had a pretty good run there in second. Brady Wellman just got collected in that wreck, but had a great run before it, and is going to try to limp it to the finish line with what's left of his car. Blaze Crawford's been in a couple wrecks tonight, but somehow hangs tough in fourth. And Joe Burgess had a pretty interesting night so far, but currently sits in 5th place, and we'll
Behind
see
the
if
50.
he can stay there.
He's behind a damaged car as well. If that 50 doesn't get going, that whole inside line is going to jam up, and we're going to have a big mess. Here we
But
go.
only 2 to go, and this is a regulation restart as well. Oh, no, it's not. What am I talking about?
No,
This
it's
is
an
the green-white
overtime.
checkered.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is the first green-white checkered. If they wreck before the white flag, they'll line up and do it again and again. But on the third one, if they wreck, then the field's frozen. But hopefully this thing doesn't end under caution. But 2 laps to go here in the season. Who will come out on top here at Talladega?
At Daytona, we had to use all 3 green-white checkers. We'll see if we have to use all 3 here tonight. Green flag is out. Brody will hit the throttle on the green, and we'll see how the outside line will stack up. The 777 to Garrett Hess.
That was a great start.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's going to clear that 55 of Garner. And it looks like the 50's damaged, so that's going to stack up that inside line. Oh!
Oh! Uh-oh! And there they go again. Urich and Blaze Crawford in more trouble. Carson Poindexter gets collected. And another quick caution. More cars going up into the outside wall. And you saw how detrimental that start was from the 50. And it stacked everybody up, and around they all went.
That's a shame. So yeah, the 50 couldn't get going off of that damage.
Actually,
no, never mind that.
And they spun right off Brady's nose. And oh, Peter got spun further back. So there were 2 separate incidents that happened around the same time. So Max gets into Blaze. They go down into the apron. And then look back there. Peter Kenny got spun around with Carson. And Brian C. Mullen also collecting some damage. But we'll see who got into that 19. And it looks like it's Weil. So perhaps a bit of a checkup there between all the different cars. And there's Corey Long as well collected with Liam Sheen. So I think that was a reaction to the initial wreck. And maybe Peter saw it before Chris did. And the 41 couldn't react in time.
Yeah, I thought it had to do about the 50, but I'm not sure if Max was sort of reacting to the clear. Either way, he got into that number 54 and fortunately took himself out, and even more drivers, so more insurance for that number 41 to rely off of.
Tough break for Carson. He was one of those that laid in the back all race with his teammate Chris, and he finally started to make his way towards the front and immediately gets collected in a big wreck. So rough ending to Carson's night, as well as Brian C. Mullen. Both of those cars, along with Chris, pit started, as well as Corey Long in the 93. So quite a few of the cars that pit started tonight end up collected in this wreck. I think Frimpong may have gotten a piece, as well as Clappert and Chandler further back. So even more people getting into it. But this will put us into green-white checkered number 2. So if we wreck after this before the white, then we'll go to the third one. And then again, the field will be frozen if there's another wreck beyond that.
And this is... We're picking up where we left off at Daytona with green-white checkered wrecks.
Shakes up the top 10 more as well. Liam Knox now into the top 5 as the... And that's not the one to go already.
It is. No, it might be.
Oh, the pace lights are still on.
Oh, no, never mind. It's not, I guess. Yeah, I guess
Ryan
it's not.
We even talked about Ryan Kendrick and that 00 at all tonight. So he's going to be 7th. DeAngelis up in there. Patterson's into the top 10. And now the main key that I see here is Brady Weileman was 4th at the time of the caution, which means that 50 is now going to restart on the high side instead of the low side, which means the high side is going to have a really hard time trying to get momentum to try to get to Brody Gardner, and that's going to really hinder what Garrett Hess and that 777 can do unless he can try to pull in between him, Gardner and Spencer Burns off the restart.
But the thing is, now the outside line, they still have the other option of taking it to the high side on the restart rather than jamming up on the inside. You can't really go anywhere when you're boxed in like that. But then you have a lot of room to the high side all the way to the safer barrier. So if that 50 doesn't get going, the 83 of Berge could work himself up high, and as long as he has help down the backstretch, I think he'll keep himself nice and clean. But we'll just have to find out.
Yeah, just a handful of laps. Figure out what ends up happening. in what's been a pretty hectic race and a pretty hectic year. I guess a pretty good microcosm of what this whole year has been. But let's see how it ends. Hopefully on a high note here for at least one car tonight in Christopher Weil, and another one probably for this race winner, whoever it ends up being. But will it be Brody, will it be Garrett, or will it be somebody else in this field?
I don't know. There's a lot of people who still have a chance of picking up their first win, but you know, for the 55, Brody Gardner, he's trying to make his a 4-win season here for tonight. The most amount of wins I think that have happened in iSCAR is, I think, 7 or 8 in a season. That was held by Clampett. And if Brody goes at this rate, 4 wins halfway through the season, well, he could go ahead and tie that record. Just have to find out, though. All right. We'll re-rack him up yet again, and second attempt up and away. Question is, can we get to the light?
Hopefully. The last thing that we want to have happen in a race like this is for it to end under yellow. But again, if we make it to the third green-white checkered and they wreck before the white, then it will freeze the field where they are. But we still have this second one first. This thing could end under green, because if they wreck on the last lap, it stays green no matter what, and it's just a race back to determine who wins. But that third one, there's no more attempts after that. So hopefully we can make it to the white this time and have an all-out, probably a brawl, for lack of a better term, an all-out brawl to figure out who is going to come out on top here.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I've seen an ARCA Super Speedway race end under green. Flashback a couple seasons ago, I think Dega had to use green-white checkers as well. And that ended up in really, really messy. Cars wrecking out left and right, but seems as though we've been able to keep it clean for the most part. Still a lot of drivers on the lead lap, so we'll see if we can stack at 3 and have a nice wide finish coming to the line, but we'll have to see, though. On the hands of that 55, because if Brody goes early, he's going to leave a huge, huge gap to Spencer Burns, and Brody's going to leave himself a sitting duck. That's the last thing you want to do, is jump the restart.
Yeah, of course, that'll give you a penalty, which will all but surely end any chance that somebody would have at winning the race. So if there's any time to get a penalty, this is the absolute worst time to pick one up. So hopefully nobody ends up suffering that fate here. But just 2 laps remaining here. Green-white checker number 2 at Talladega. Brody Gardner, Garrett Hess, Spencer Burns, Brady Wellman, and Liam Knox, the top 5 here for what could be
Brody
the final
goes!
race of the year. What an early jump Brody got. Couldn't even finish getting my sentence out, and they're already off and going. And indeed, Garrett was able to pull down between Gardner and Spencer Burns. But now the high side is just virtually non-existent. They're all single file, all broken up. This thing could potentially end single file.
This is what I was talking about. If Brody wants to hit the throttle early, he's going to be a sitting duck. Here comes Hess with a run. I don't think he has enough help to maybe shoot out to the high side. We'll see if Burns goes with him. He goes out.
Here he goes.
Here he comes. Oh, wow. Brody's a sitting duck. And this is a result of jumping the restart. Look at the drivers right behind. Here comes Liam Knox.
Liam Knox is a big head of steam, but he has no help. Burge, he thought about taking it 4 wide, but thought better of it. And now Garrett Hess to the race lead, coming to the white flag. But that restart, I think, by Brody caught everybody off guard. And now it's got this field all sorts of scrambled up. But here comes Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, and who's that yellow car that's up
Oh,
there
they're
now?
wrecking anyway! Oh, they wrecked again!
Oh, there they all go! Everybody goes. That's the caution. And and there goes
Wild!
And Benjamin White. Everybody's in this. And the leader at the line is Ryan Kendrick in the 00.
What? Where did he come from? What in the world?
He got a big push from Nick Miller and Frank DeAngelis, and he darted his way through the wreck, and into the race lead he goes.
And this is the result of jumping the restart. Brody decided to go as soon as the pace car drove itself in, and it fanned the field out, but once they entered the tri-oval, everybody is stacked up.
Look at Zach Corbett in the 102 in 4th place with 1 restart left. He does not race here very often, but started 27th, and out of nowhere, finds himself with a chance at a top 5 finish here at Talladega. Where did he come from, too?
Get a replay at the incident. There
How
goes
did
the
he miss
50.
that? Ooh,
Oh, Dominic Howe. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. He got plowed. All 3 of the championship contenders got damage here. There's Schmidt in that yellow and blue car.
Oh, Joe
He's gonna
Berge
get
didn't
collected
escape this
further
one.
up. Oh, and Eduardo Munez right up in front of Schmidt. We'll see it again here. As Munez goes down, he gets clipped right there and
Yikes.
nowhere for Schmidt to go. And then there's Weil getting collected with his teammate Benjamin White. Frimpong hits the outside wall. Everybody's scattering everywhere. So I don't know who's going to be where at this point, but absolute pandemonium here on the green-white checkered too. And I knew when the field spread out like that something like this is possible. And indeed, we've now seen it here at Talladega. So this will turn over the top 10 once again, but this time potentially only a couple 100 feet perhaps to try to gain positions depending on when the caution comes out. If one does come out.
Shuffling the order yet again. Looks like Spencer Burns will pick up the top spot.
And it looks like he was ahead of Kendrick at the time of the caution. But still, Kendrick came out of nowhere, and now he's got a great position to try to win. Hess was able to save it, and he's third still. Looks like Brody's dropped out of the top 10. So D'Angelo's fourth, Patterson fifth, Corbett sixth now. So Tajman Gauthier, again, I apologize if that's pronounced wrong.
So Gauthier, there he is.
Benjamin White, despite the damage, he's staying out. He's ninth. And Colton Zimmer rounds out your top 10 for the time being. So we've had quite a few wrecks tonight that have turned this top 10 completely upside down. And with only a maximum of 2 green flag laps left, it's going to really be interesting now to see who ends up taking this W.
I think the only person who's really been a staple in controlling the field is the 06 of Spencer Burns. I think Spencer's going to come out up top of this as long as he keeps himself up front, though, because honestly, the experience that Spencer Burns has on super speedways, as well as everywhere else, apply it here tonight. All he has to do is just keep that top spot, and we've seen how he places his blocks. It's not like an abrupt move or anything like that. It's just enough to stall the cars out right behind. The question is, though, are those drivers right behind going to even lift for him? Because he might straight up get ran over come to the line.
And again, I mentioned it before. Here's the thing that these guys really have to consider now, is that unlike the previous 2 green-white checkers, if they end up wrecking before the white flag flies, the field's frozen at the time of the caution and they don't get to race back at all. But if these guys can make it just 1 lap to the white flag, then it's all-out pandemonium from there on out, and they'll be able to race it. So I'm hoping that they can make it to the white. At this point, it's just someone that's watching the race is just trying to be a fan of what's going on. I hope they can make it to the white.
Right.
Because it'll be a much more exciting finish, I think, if they make it there. Yeah. So they got 1 lap to do it. But based off of what we just saw, who knows?
Yeah, who knows, really? Again, we're picking up of where we left off at Daytona. We had a span of... we had to use up all 3 green light checkers, and we didn't end the race under... we didn't end... Blah, 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 blah. What am I saying? We didn't end the race under green flag conditions.
Yeah, Weil won that race under yellow.
That's right, and...
which is the big points boost he got that he's carried now throughout this entire season. And despite being collected in that wreck, there's Dominic with smoke trailing out of his car. He's done. All 3... William and Dominic both are done from, of course, a championship perspective, but hey, you know what? You never know. Maybe, everybody in this top 20 could all wreck on the white flag, and somebody that's like sitting 25th could win the race.
That's right.
Nothing's out of the question. We've seen crazier things happen, even here at Talladega. Of course, the last time this series went to Talladega, we saw Alex Wheeler win his first ever iSCAR race, and one of the absolute craziest finishes we've ever seen here in this league. So, this top 10 you see now could be entirely different when the race finishes. But again, I'm just hoping they can make it to the white flag so they can really race it out to the end.
Yeah, once the white flag starts waving, all bets are off. But hopefully they keep working with each other all the way down to that checkered flag, but here we go.
Spencer Burns, who's had roof damage all race, will lead us to the green. Ryan Kendrick second. Garrett Hess, Frank DeAngelis, and Josh Patterson, your top 5. Corbett, Mann, Gauthier. Dang it, I keep messing that up. I'm sorry. Benjamin White and Colton Zimmer, top 10. Pace car gets out of everybody's way. This is it. The final 2 laps of 2020 and of this Yost Auto Sales Series season are upon us. Who will come out on top here at Talladega?
Hold your breath for 2 laps. Can you do it? Can you not? Green flag is out.
Green flag.
Frippo's already splitting the middle. And a lot of scrambling.
Don't wreck it. Don't wreck it. Make it to the white, guys. Oh, boy.
Borgie squeezed himself down to the low side. They might be wrecking. They're not wrecking.
Oh, there we go. It's going to end under caution. Everyone goes around, and I think Spencer Burns is going to win the race.
That's
I
right.
believe Spencer Burns was out front, in front of Ryan Kendrick, and with that big restart wreck, unfortunately, this is going to end under yellow, and Spencer Burns is going to pick up his first ever iSCAR win here tonight at Talladega. And Christopher Weil in the 41 is your Season 3 Yost Auto Sales Series champion.
Picked up right where we left off at Daytona. As I said, it's just hard to restart these cars when bumpers don't align, and you need them to align, especially on a crucial restart. And for Spencer Burns in that 06,
White flag.
white flag.
Yeah, he's still racing at full speed, but
Just catching up to the pace car.
that pace car is zooming wherever it is. That pace car is taking no prisoners here tonight. But for that 06, we saw at Martinsville, he came up just short when he got just behind Brody Gardner, who successfully appealed that incident penalty and was able to hold on to his win. But this time, I think his engine may have just gone out. But Spencer Burns this time will be able to keep the checkered flag that he got, and actually Chris is going to burn it down coming to the white flag. I love that. But yeah, Spencer Burns this time was able to get the job done, and for the first time ever in iSCAR, he will be a race winner. And a good job for Kendrick as well. All these guys in the top 10 did everything right to get themselves in the position they needed to be to finish where they did. And of course, the 06 ended up doing that better than everybody. And I don't know if this has ever happened in iSCAR before, but a car with roof damage is going to win a race.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
something.
first.
That's got to be a first. And through the trial here for the final time under caution, unfortunately, but to the finish nonetheless, the pace car will lead us here to take the checkered flag. And the 06 of Spencer Burns wins his first ever iSCAR race here in the Yost Auto Sales Series season finale here at Talladega.
Great win for him and that whole entire team, but we have to scroll all the way back to this number 41, who's screwing around with a couple of teammates and such like that, a couple of friends of his, Dominic Howe, Austin Johnson.
I think Austin's trying to push Dominic so he can finish.
Yeah, I gotta be aware, don't want to spin him out. He's already jacking his whole rear end up and stuff like that, so don't want to do
I
that.
love this.
In the meantime,
Oh,
that,
boy.
for Christopher Weil and that number 41, $35 for him.
Yeah, pretty solid payday for that 41 to walk out of here tonight, $35 richer. And it looks like Dominic will come short of the championship, but he will not come short of the checkered flag, as Austin Johnson will be a good friend there and push him across the line. Looks like Harrison Chandler may have a similar fate going on, but as these four make their way across the line, we'll look at the unofficial results here. So they're going to go 4 wide across the line. Salute for the fans, I guess. And there's your champion. won at Daytona and was consistent enough to stay in the points lead for all season. And despite the trouble he encountered tonight, still ends up your champion, and that's not cool to do to the race winner. Unofficial results here after more than 47 laps here at Talladega. Spencer Burns wins his first ever iSCAR race. Ryan Kendrick with a nice run for him in second. Frank DeAngelis, Garrett Hess, and Josh Patterson round out your top 5. Enzo Gauthier ends up 6th. Colton Zimmer, Benjamin White, who gets his first ever iSCAR top 10. And then Malachi Drake and John Cannizzaro round out your top 10.
Peter Kenny, Henry Clappert, Max Urick, Carson Poindexter, Sammy Yaha, William Schmidt, Brody Gardner, Brian Mullen, Zach Corbett, and Joe Berge round out the top 20.
Blaze Crawford, 21st. There's your champion, Christopher Weil. He ends up 22nd tonight. Harrison Chandler, Eduardo Munez gets 25th there in his first race in 2 years. Dominic Howell comes up just short for the title in 26th. Sartajman 27th. Pulsar Liam Knox ends up 28th. And rounding out your top 30, Corey Long and Nick Miller.
31st, Brady Wildman, Mitch Hodge, Dylan Basin, Austin Johnson, Hunter Rupp, Kyler Wynn, Liam Sheen, Dane Cruz, Latham Joyner, and Hunter Johnson round out 40th position. AJ Bain, Omar Diallo, and Kenny Brady round out the rest of the order. We'll be right back right after this. iSCAR Yost Auto Sales Series finally summing up the season here at Talladega, crowning the 06 as your champion as well. I mean, not the 06, 06 as your winner, and the 41 as your champion.
There you see Dale Earnhardt, defending champion, a man who has won here at this racetrack. He has been absolutely second to none in 1987.
Dale Earnhardt is on his last lap. This will be his 24th career win, his fourth win of 1987 out of 6. Dale Earnhardt wins the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro.
Everyone's wondering what can stop Dale Earnhardt. He's on a roll, 4 wins and 6 starts. I mean, is there anybody can handle you?
There may be a little more here underneath the sheet metal.
Well, I'm sure this afternoon we'll know a lot more, and we've got 500 miles to run. We'll see what happens.
Good luck today.
Our magnificent 19th annual $500,000 Talladega 500 is won by Dawsonville, Georgia's Bill Elliott, and the siren is beginning to ring. You'll probably hear it in Dahlonega. Bill Elliott has won
Elliott now getting a challenge from Tim Richmond, but he closes again right in behind Earnhardt, coming down off turn 4. And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible. Decent driving by Earnhardt. 7 laps to go. Earnhardt went on the grass.
Dale Earnhardt is reminding Mr. Elliott, you make one mess up like that, and I might get through.
When you come to North Wilkesboro on a short racetrack, you expect some fender to fender and even some paint trading going on out there. We've seen it already as Brett Bodine gave Jerry Kramer a nudge in the rear end, and now we're seeing some great competition out there between Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott.
Three, two, one. iSCAR Yost Auto Sales Series rounds itself out here at Talladega after a hectic, unfortunate, a chaotic end for tonight's race. Didn't end under the way we wanted it to, but otherwise provided us with a lot of entertainment. And for the 06 of Spencer Burns, he's walking away a series winner. Of course, after the misfortune at Martinsville, here tonight with that number 06, he is a winner here for tonight. We're going to go ahead and drag him into the booth here in a moment. But Dewey, what'd you think of tonight?
Well, it was certainly interesting. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything less in terms of it being, A, race at Talladega, and B, a championship race. So I think it had everything we could have expected, including, some stuff I wasn't necessarily expecting, but it all turned out to be a pretty fun race, and for Christopher Weil and Spencer Burns, a pretty good momentum boost as they get a win in their own right in terms of a championship and a race. But now I'll get to talk to them and see what they've got to say about how their races went tonight. And we'll start off with our race winner, Spencer Burns.
And into the booth he will go. Spencer, you got a copy?
Hello.
Spencer! Man, you're running yourself out here at Talladega in Victory Lane to end off the season finale. Of course, a lot of wrecks toward the end, but overall, a hectic race from start to finish. You in particular were taking it 4 wide when the chance was needed, and you came out up top here for tonight. Congratulations, first off. Talk me through about your race.
First off, thank you. Yeah, the racing was really good at the beginning. I wanted to apologize to Kenny Brady. I know I took him out, I think around lap 12, 13. Just forgot that the ARCA car is unbumpable. Took him out. Then the rest of the race, pretty caution-filled, but there were some bright spots of 4 wide, 3 wide, and that's when it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's right. You in particular were sort of an outcast of all that 3 wide and 4 wide action. You up front throwing all those blocks and such like that. You kept yourself up there in position, and luckily for you, got yourself to the end. And walk me through those final restarts.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I feel like the difference between myself and some of the other drivers tonight was just knowing when you could block or when you could take it 4 wide. I feel like a lot of the cautions tonight probably could have been avoided if they just showed that they were moving lanes a lot quicker, or if they weren't just going for gaps that weren't there. And I feel like I was able to spot that out enough times just to work my way through the field. I got taken out a little bit earlier in the race, I think around like lap 25-ish, and it took a little bit to get back up, but all the 4 wide and all the wrecks, I lucked out of it.
Yup, and you, of course, after that second green-white checker, that big wreck shuffled you to the front. And all I had to do is really basically hit the throttle and up and away you went. So, that's all about wraps here at Dega. So, man, congratulations first off for your big W here at Talladega. But before we let you go, any sponsor want to thank you for tonight?
Just want to thank some of the boys I was in with Discord. Thank you, Max Brady, for spotting me. A big help tonight. Frank for being in Discord. I think he finished P3, so that's cool for him.
Alright, about 10-4. Spencer Burns rounds himself out here in Victory Lane. We'll go ahead and see you coming to your next race, bud.
Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and scoot ourselves back 1 to the 00 of Ryan Kendrick.
Alright, Ryan, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, you were virtually invisible for a good chunk of the race, and then with like that second green-white checkered, you vaulted yourself up that high side and into second place, and that's where you end up finishing tonight. So I'm assuming you ended up laying in the back for most of the race, and if that's the case, you timed it perfectly. But what did you see out there that got yourself up there into P2?
Yeah, you know, like the first 40 laps, I was just staying in the back. And then we had that one caution, I think, with like 10 to go. That's when I decided to try to push. And then on like the second green-white checkered, I believe, when Brody went early, Nick gave me a huge push down the back, and we were able to get up to those like top 5 really quick. And I thought I was gonna have a chance to clear the bottom 2 lines if we went green just for a few more seconds, but then the caution came out, and then restarted second and tried to drag race Spencer to the turn 1. I was close. If I don't know, there was like a split second where I was ahead of him on the relative, and then he went back in front of me, and then the caution came out, and then that was about that.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do, of course, in a situation like that when the caution comes out, but P2, nothing to be ashamed of at all, especially with how you laid in the back for most of the night. But, man, what good way to round out 2020. What are you looking forward to in 2021 and, I guess, different tracks or different chases and stuff?
Probably just like I want to really try to close out the B Series season, because I'm not sure how many more races I'm going to be able to run in the trucks and cup, but I'll try to run when I can and try to run the majority of the B Series and hopefully be in contention for a championship there.
Well, good momentum boost here tonight as you try to do that, and of course we'll be right back here on Sunday night for the next one of those. Before we go tonight, any sponsor people you want to thank here for this race and I guess this year?
Yeah, everyone at Proximity, Malachi, Casey, Eric, everyone at BDD Racing for our iSCAR, and working with them for this season, and you guys for broadcasting.
All right, Ryan Kendrick, runner-up here tonight at Talladega. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the weekend.
Yep, see you.
Now it's Ryan Kendrick in the 00. We'll go ahead and scroll ourselves back 1 position to a guy we really didn't see up there toward that main pack, but suddenly popped out of nowhere, and that number 69 of Frank DeAngelis rounds himself out 3rd here for tonight. Congratulations, Bell. You started all the way back in 40th place, but worked yourself through all the mess, and here you are sitting in 3rd.
Thank you for that. It was kind of an endurance race and kind of tempting to go up to the front up until like 10 to go. I kept fighting with myself in my head, challenging myself to go, but then remembering they're going to wreck. And when they didn't wreck, I wanted to go. Then when I went, I think I stayed out with like 10 to go, and then that's when all hell broke loose.
Luckily for you, you worked yourself through all that mess, and unfortunately, we had to go through all three green-white checkers here for tonight. Go through the same process: restart wreck, caution, and restart wreck, caution, and stuff like that 3 times in a row. And luckily for you, you worked yourself through all of that. Find yourself out 3rd here for tonight. Put yourself in 3rd.
Really just avoiding all the mayhem at the last 3 green-white checkers. The first one, I knew they were going to wreck before we hit the white, so I was just playing conservative. And Shortly enough, they all wrecked. I drove through it. Second green white checkered, same thing happened. They wrecked going into one. I drove through it. Third green white checkered. My Dexter Morgan kill room associate Spencer Burns, congratulations on the win. He gave me a little bit of a countdown. We went. I knew they weren't gonna make it until turn one, so I was trying all my best to push him or get as far up as I can before the caution came out, but I got stuck with third.
Yeah, but 10-4, you ran yourself out third here tonight for the iSCAR finale ARC race. But before we let you go, any sponsors want to take here?
Yeah, this is gonna be a while because I would like to thank every single little sponsor on this car. The number 69 Mini Cooper, Toyota Camry, Balls, Chevrolet Monte Carlo, McLovin, Peter Griffin, Chick Hicks, In Memory of Dale Earnhardt, Confederate LGBT, Love Fat Shaming, Gibby Thinking About Lacey Cool, Owen from Total Drama Island, Chris Morgan aka the Bagel Boss By, Number 6, Grapefruit from Annoying Orange, Mike Harmon, Jay Gatsby, Joseph Lombard Gaming, Chris Griffin, Stewie Griffin, Beetlejuice, McDonald's When the Imposter is Sus, the Piston Cup for giving me my big break, and twitch.tv/Kachiga Plays, and Sartaj Man, of course.
Alright, but 10-4. No comment on all those sponsors, and Frank DeAngelis will round himself out third here for the finale. We'll go ahead and see you come to your next race, bud.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly the interesting list of sponsors there, but as we make our way towards one more interview here, it is your Season 3 Yost Auto Sales Series champion, Christopher Weil, and into the booth he goes. Chris, got a copy?
Heck yeah, I do.
First off, congratulations, bud. Your first ever winter season championship here in iSCAR, and you pick up a pretty good payday in the process. It looks like your strategy of staying in the back for most of the race worked out, even though you ended up getting caught up in that last wreck. But how did it end up, or what did you end up seeing throughout the race, and did the strategy get different at all, or changed?
I mean, I just kept staying in the back. I had Corey Long, Carson Poindexter, and Brian C. Mullen helping me out and staying back there with me to help me win the title. And we literally just stayed back there pretty much the entire time until there was the first green-white checkered, and that's when we went, all right, let's just go for it, because at that point, Dominic Howe's car had been hit pretty hard, and William Schmidt's car was damaged too, so there wasn't really any contention for them winning at that point, and even if I got wrecked and finished last, like on the lead lap, I'd still win the title. So we went for it, and typical Talladega ARCA chaos ensued, and I dodged I dodged part of a wreck and then got caught up in one, so that kind of sucks. It's unfortunate to finish the race with a junked car, but I'm happier about the title, so it's great to win it.
Yeah, not very often that finishing in 22nd place is enough to win a championship, but here tonight it was. And even though, you ended up getting caught in that wreck, enough people got eliminated through other wrecks that you had clinched it anyway. But how much of a momentum boost, of course, is this for you as you go through your other series? Because you're not just in chase contention here in this series after winning the title. You're in the top 3 in points in all 3 other series. So how are you going to take this and try to tackle the other ones and maybe even win a second championship this season?
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't really change my mentality towards those races. I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. It's great to win this one, but I want more.
I mean, who wouldn't? But, of course, already 1 for 1 here in championships is a pretty good shot to maybe win another one. We'll see how it all pans out, but for right now, you walk out of here tonight a champion. Before we go tonight, any sponsors or people you want to thank here?
Yeah, I already thanked Carson Poindexter, Corey Long, and Brian C. Mullen for helping me out during that race. I also just want to thank my SPM teammates for being awesome and being there for me if I needed it the whole race. And of course, I want to give a special shout out to Ritwick for the Jurassic Park scheme. We got our butts kicked. It looks like a dinosaur stomped on my car at the end of this thing, but we got it. So that's all that really matters in the end.
Indeed. Christopher Weil, your Season 3 Yost Auto Sales Series champion. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the season.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back fairly soon.
Congratulations to that number 41, and stick around for more coming next week. This time slot is going to be stuck in by the new Super Late Model series. So, do we want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, of course. It'll be Season 2 of the Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model series, which will replace the Yost Auto Sales series for the remainder of this winter season. But after 10 hard-fought races, Christopher Weil comes out of Talladega a winter season champion. So congratulations once again to him. We'll be back here again on New Year's Day on Friday for the Truck Series at New Hampshire. And I don't care how bad of a dad joke this is, but for Ezeckiel Reyes, I'm Dewey Schramm. We'll see you next year.